Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Night Owl, a show that we do twice a week where we talk about all the latest in pop culture news, TV and movie reviews, gaming news, and just the general conversations of the day. You'll see Professor R2 here soon enough. He has a technical issue that he's working on. It's the Phobos. If you're around, I sent you a DM, and I'm hoping that you saw it. So if you haven't seen it, check it right now. If you can hear me, which hopefully somebody can. In any case, I must be lucky Price makes house calls over here. I don't even know what that means. In any case, Christophobos, go check your DMs. And yeah, here we are on the Night Owl. I guess I'll just start and somebody will show up from somewhere to do something. What are we talking about today? What have we got going on? So, the first thing I wanted to talk about was CNN. And the reason why I wanted to bring it up is that I feel that, like, lately, there's been a lot of situations where it's become even more obvious and apparent how silly they are. It's not that I ever thought that they were the best news network, but I think that back in the day, you kind of thought that, when they started, there was news and they'd sort of reported, I guess. These days, and especially I've seen it over the past maybe 5, 6, 7 years, a lot of kind of events that happened where they have a certain either bias or they're just lazy. It's sometimes it's a situation that you could argue it's a certain bias. Sometimes it's just really awful reporting. And I think that in the past week, there were certainly a few situations. Hey, Ista, how's it going?
How are you?
I'm doing good. So yeah, thank you for joining us. And like I said, there's been some technical things going on, but grateful that you're able to join us. And what I was just saying is that CNN has been crappy for a very long time, but I feel like in the past week there are a few incidents that were really like head scratchers. One was one was more of political nature because there was a situation where basically they sort of reposted or they took something that was said by these kind of Iranian propaganda and making it seem like fact, which Iranian propaganda, they just the way they worded it, CNN, was very deceitful. They made it seem like the U.S. has agreed to a number of things when the U.S. never agreed to it. They just said, we'll open negotiations when we'll talk about a bunch of different things. But they insisted that the U.S. has agreed to different things which they haven't agreed to. So, and the reason their quote unquote source was this, were like, well, an Iranian official said it, or somebody from Iran said it, and it's like, yeah, they say a lot of stuff. So, the whole situation was very embarrassing, and I think that they did a very poor job at reporting. I don't know anybody that's around on the internet. And it doesn't even matter how you feel about the conflict. I think most people will agree that since the beginning of this conflict with Iran, their officials, the Twitter accounts, are usually full of nonsense. You know what I mean? Like if I was trying to get down to the bottom of something, I wouldn't use whatever they're saying. I wouldn't take their word at face value. Do you get what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I
So there
mean,
was that situation, and then in addition to that, there was a. I don't know if you saw this. They apparently announced that Michael J. Fox was dead, and he wasn't dead, but they announced it. I don't know why. And he was watching TV and he noticed that they had announced that he was dead, even though he knew he wasn't dead. Uh, I mean, first of all, I've always been a huge fan of Michael J. Fox. Like, I grew up watching him, Family Ties, Back to the Future. So sad what happened to him because I think he's such a talent. And it's too bad that the kind of things that he's had to go through in his life. But I'm saying, like, it's not enough the kind of things that he has to go through with his health. He has to also watch TV and see CNN announce him being dead, which is very weird. Uh, and
uh, yeah, I think it's funny you said that you might have seen that Michael J. Fox was dead, and I was going to say, yeah, he saw it too, and nobody was more surprised than him. I I'm actually, I think it's been quite heroic that he still managed to continue working and has had the career he's had long after the horrible diagnosis. that he's gone. He's really, he's really been a trooper throughout this whole thing. A lot of people would have just given up, but he didn't let it stop him.
Yeah, no, I have a lot of appreciation for what he's done and how he's taken it with such stride. But I've always struggled with this situation, and I feel like a terrible person because I'm going to say something now that'll seem to be terrible, and I don't mean to be terrible, but I'll still seem terrible. Are you with me?
So far, yes.
Okay. So first of all, this is the thing that I was talking about that I mean it's not funny, but he turned on the TV. He was being nice about it, but I mean, is it really necessary for a guy to turn on the TV and discover that he's, you know, CNN is reporting on his death? Like
Well,
he has enough stuff to deal with probably and he doesn't need that in addition to all the nonsense. But it just goes to show you like his CNN does not function as a legitimate news network, and it hasn't in a long time. Not by the way they covered those Floyd riots back in the day. And in addition to that, there's always these such annoying like agendas that they will really be deceitful with the way they cover things in order to push a certain agenda and propaganda. And I think that it's beyond anything reasonable. Meaning, if you're just flat out lying or like using these kind of tactics to really deceive your viewers in the way that they do it. Now, I'm not saying that other news networks don't have a certain bias as well. You may like Fox News, but it's obviously more like right leaning or whatever it is. I'm sure that every place has their own spin, but I don't know why I feel like CNN has really become sort of the beacon of deceit in terms of like how far they'll go to like twist whatever it is that's going on so that they don't have to admit to something that they don't like. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, you know why? Because they no longer apply the standard of journalism that was used for so many decades. Like it or hate the media, they always had a minimum standard of verifiability that they would bring a story to, and they had editors that would vet the stories, and they had ombudsmen to make sure that both sides of the issue were being told, even if there was a slant here or there. Generally, if a major news network said something was happening, you could take it as gospel. You may not know exactly why and lose some of the nuance, but that all changed when Trump broke them in 2016. And from then on, it just became we're going to take a stand against him no matter what. I'm convinced, allegedly, that it was Trump that finally broke him. But honestly, the impartiality was falling long before that, maybe 10 years, because that's when the hiring changed. That's when the people coming out of colleges were much more indoctrinated than previous generations. And that's when it all started. But when the Trump thing happened, we had a black president for 8 years, but you would think that our country was basically, I don't want to say anything to get you in trouble, but when Trump got elected, they were acting like we're the most racist, horrible country that ever existed in history on the face of the planet.
Yeah, yeah, I completely understand.
And the thing that I noticed, it was the all fine people hoax that they still are doubling down on, if you can believe it or not.
Yeah, they'll keep saying that forever.
Yeah. And there's absolutely anybody with any lick of common sense can see, oh, he was talking about these people. He was talking about the free speech people versus, the people that wanted to shut down the entire rally. And CNN's justification, well, he was still creating a dichotomy. So we don't care if it was from free speech activists or neo-Nazis. They're both the same to us. Like, that's absolutely absurd.
Yeah, that is very very dumb.
I don't even think they have the minimum of 2 independent sources need to be corroborating a story before it can go to air. That's what it used to be. But right now, especially with all the competition from some very excellent independent media on social media platforms, I mean, look at Nick Shirley. What he's doing is amazing work. And they're trying to politicize him, but he's not being political. He's going looking for crime. But there's this rush to be first. It's more important to be first than to be right, because you got to get the clicks, the hits, the views, your
Right, but
revenue
the thing
depends
is
on
that,
it.
like, CNN have so little, like, quality control at this point.
Yeah. And if speed is your priority, then of course you're going to sacrifice accuracy. Hence, oh, well, Michael J. Fox is dead. It's like reading a tweet and just retweeting it without even doing a cursory search to see if it might be correct.
Yeah, I mean, you think that that's something that they could have figured out, and, it says a lot about how poor their process is. It somehow isn't a surprise. I mean, it's funny because, like, Donald Trump always makes fun of them and all that, and maybe some of the times he, like, lashes out and he doesn't like a question, and he says fake news, and sometimes you could even criticize that, but most of the time when he said that about CNN, he's been 100% right. Uh,
Yeah,
they
that's
have
what's so
not
funny.
functioned as a news network at all, and, in a way, I also think that they were the initial pioneers. I can't put them all on them. They were the initial pioneers of also, uh, ruining something in society when it comes to news, because in the past, before, and this, there's also the internet and other things. I can't just blame CNN for this, but their 24-hour news network approach created a situation where they always want to report on something. They always want to say something because they want you to watch their network. But when there's only a certain amount of news you can report on, and you have a network that 24/7 has to show news, they started becoming more desperate as to which kind of stories they cover, how sensational they make them. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it started becoming a thing where I don't think that society benefited long term from the invention of CNN. Although I can't really just put it on them, but you know what I'm saying.
Um, yeah, I absolutely agree. They invented the 24-hour news cycle, and that required them to have something exciting and sensational to report, every hour of every day. And that's just not how the world works. So if there's nothing exciting to report, they're going to make something exciting. And I kind of feel like they missed an opportunity to fill those quieter hours with more in-depth takes, more long-form reporting, even educational stuff. Or one of my personal frustrating things is you hear an incredible, interesting story, like, somebody gets injured at work and they're sued because, some chemical spill, and then they all get attacked by the executives and they try to blame blah, blah, blah. And then the story's gone and you never hear anything about it again. Like, how about some follow-ups on the previous exciting, sensational stories you reported on? I'm kind of interested in what happened to that pilot or that driver or that soldier that you reported on last year. I would think there's a great opportunity to fill those empty spots with something of substance. But that takes work and that takes forethought. And I think they would rather just hammer to death. And then, you nailed it with the whole, mostly peaceful protests, mostly nonviolent.
No,
It's
and it's also like, the way they report on a crime. Look, I'll say this. I am very careful about this. I know some people, there's like, sometimes it happens that there's a crime, and if a certain demographic committed it, there's people that are very pleased, maybe too pleased about it. I don't really look at it that way, but I do think one thing, that CNN actively trying to sweep under the carpet if it's somebody of a certain religion, or if it's somebody of a certain background, because, like, they're trying to push one narrative. They think that if they're honest about what happened, it'll be like a different narrative. I don't like that. Be honest, say whatever it was. I mean, if it was a non-diverse person that did it, say whoever it was. If it was a diverse person, say whoever it was. If it was a woman that you think that a woman wouldn't do the thing, but she did it, say it. You know what I mean? Like, there's no point if you're not going to report on what the news are, and then always you see this kind of manipulation that if it's from one group, they present in one way, but if it's from another group, they present in another way. That really annoys me. It's like, I would be okay if they just said it like it is. If it's one time it's a non-diverse person, say it's not even something that needs to be dwelled on. It's like sometimes they don't want to show the picture of the person. Do you get what I mean? Like they don't want to show you a
Or
picture or announce this because they're thinking, well, because it's diverse, it's not going to go with the narrative, or if it's like somebody with a certain personal preference, it's not going to
yes.
work with. Yeah, do you get what I mean? And I'm
Well,
like, what is this shit? Just
well,
say whatever's happening. Why are you even a news network if you can't just straight out say whatever it is?
well,
And I ask that of all news networks. It's not that I'm saying like, oh, I want it from CNN, but I don't expect other networks to have the same standard. I think that people should be honest. You know what I mean? And the fact that, and I'll say this, even if it was somebody from a group that was diverse, it doesn't mean that I think that all diverse people are that person. But I also think that trying to, you know, be PC and not say who committed like murder is weird to me. Like there's a crime, somebody committed it. Well, say who it is, show his picture. Don't do it just when it's one group, because then it's like, what are you actually doing? You know what I mean?
well, that's the whole point of not supposed to be having a narrative in the first place. Because once you have a narrative, you are beholden to upholding that narrative. And if a news story, if the facts get in the way of your narrative, you're going to distort them or warp them or not reported. Remember a couple months ago, there was a bad thing where a person did something bad to another, and they called them white, and there's a picture of them, and they clearly, were of African descent, and they're saying like, white shooter, blah blah blah, and like, but they're not supposed to go into a story having a narrative, but that's all they have. They don't have the facts. They don't have the facts on their side. All they have are stories. Look at what's happening now with Arina Zarutskov. Um,
Yeah, that it's like they think that if they admit that that guy, did something bad, then that it's bad to just do any kind of memorial towards her. They think that that's like evil somehow. It's like you didn't mind when some guy that was, and I'm sorry, I don't know how else to describe him, a guy which was a multiple offense criminal that was got into some real trouble, and even, you know, I'm going to say this, and this is a complicated issue, but I'm going to say this. I would have preferred, and I wasn't there, so I don't want to say, like, I'm not a policeman, and I can't really tell you what somebody does when they're on the job. I would have preferred if there would have been a way to somehow apprehend George Floyd, perhaps with a taser, or I don't know what could be done, and not to do anything that somebody would even claim would contribute to his demise. Not because I actually think that he was this spectacular, wonderful person. He doesn't seem that way at all. He doesn't seem like he was. But I think that personally, I would have preferred to seen him apprehended a different way. Now, it could be there was stuff in his system, and maybe that stuff caused bad things to happen to him, regardless of him being apprehended. But just for to be on the safe side, I would have preferred a different method of apprehension. Do you get what I'm saying?
yeah, the problem is that was the method prescribed by the police department. The officers did everything by the book, and despite the outcome, some of them were punished for it. I don't think the guy should have died, but he, they if that's going to be a problem, then change the book, change police procedure, change the manual.
Right. I mean, there's been a number of incidents where I think that they didn't take the responsibility that they needed to take in terms of things gone wrong. There was also Breonna Taylor. Is that her name?
Yeah, that
Yep.
was a horrible thing. Hey, Professor.
So
Hello. Yeah,
hey,
sorry. Sorry about that.
no,
Apparently, I had a software update waiting in the wings. So when I needed to go restart, it decided to install that for me too. Thank you very much. I appreciate you doing that and making me wait for 15 minutes to do that, computer.
well, also
Yeah.
thanks to Ista that jumped on, and
Yeah, I
then
appreciate it. So thank you for hopping in.
what was I going to say? I guess what I'm saying,
Brianna Taylor.
the
Yeah.
Breonna
Yeah.
Taylor thing, was an error. Like, a judge signed off on it. It was the wrong location. So many mistakes were made there. But at least in her case, I think that she did. I'm not saying that the other guy deserved it, but I think that really in her case it was a tragedy because this was a mistake and somebody probably should have at least somewhat been accountable for it, even if it was an error and it was not intentional. People made really serious mistakes when it came to that whole situation. In the case of George Floyd, I tend to agree that in the police guidelines, that's how they told them to apprehend him. The one thing that I'll say also that I didn't like in general of all the media, and I don't know why it took so long until they showed the body cam footage of everything that happened to him. Now, I will still maintain that I would have preferred, I don't know what the guidebook said or whatever, the optics of what happened there, and how, that went down to your average viewer, and including myself when I saw it. It's not something I would prefer that there would be a different way to apprehend somebody personally. But what I will say is, and this is the part that I think a lot of people didn't even realize, they actually, from what I remember in the video, they did manage to get him and put him in a car, in like a police car, but he busted out.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, there's also, and this came up later now with things that happened in Minnesota and things like that, where generally speaking, and I don't think this has anything to do with anybody's skin color or background or anything like that. If the police have put you under arrest and they've put you inside a police car and then you bust the door open and run away, you are asking for trouble. You know what I mean? This is, forget about that specific incident.
Sure.
If you told me now that you're Istophobos or in that situation and somebody just put you in the car, in the police car, and you said, "Hey, Bryce, do you think it's a good idea that I bust out of here and run away?" I tell you, it's stuff. Don't do anything. Just sit down and shut up. Don't do anything. Don't do that. And I know that if you do that, you'd be putting yourself in real danger. You know what I mean? Like, this is not what you want to do when there's 4 policemen that you, like, bust the door open and run away.
Certainly. And, it's sort of like at that point, the police, the adrenaline's flowing, they're alert, there's an angry crowd, they feel danger from all sides, and it looks like they just tried to arrest the Incredible Hulk, who through sheer brute strength just broke out of the back of a police car. Like, you're making a bad situation worse. And, I somewhat sympathize with the people who say, comply. Well, we shouldn't have to comply. We have rights. Like, but there's really both sides of that. And I think what we're getting to, the problem is that the media picks a side and runs with that one and doesn't even present the other viewpoint and the other possibilities of what can happen. I mean, you hear about police getting killed because there was a cop in Florida that was shot in the head by a woman who snuck a gun in. Let's just say she had it very cleverly hidden, and she was small and she knew how to get out of cuffs. And she shot the guy in the head while he was trying to go drive off. But it was a low caliber weapon. She was really not thinking very clearly. And so he was able to get away with just regular injuries. But the police surrounded that car and they emptied several magazines of AR-15s into the cop car. Not a one of them hit her, but it took them 30 minutes to approach the car behind shields and barricades, because all they knew was that this unarmed woman was in the back of the police car. She had a gun and she was shooting them. So, imagine being in that position. They were very careful. It took a very long time to resolve that situation. But you're asking these people who put their lives in harm's way to do a very difficult job. And I just think, if you hamstring them and handicap them and make it impossible for them to do their job, you're not going to end up with any police, and you're not, and then you're going to become Portland, and we don't want that.
Why didn't you just shoot them in the leg?
Yeah.
Why didn't you use your taser? You should have used your taser instead of using it. It's like, I'm sorry. Do you have any idea how these people are trained? Do you have any idea the types of threats that they have to face and the split-second decisions that they have to make? No. Do police make mistakes? Yes. Officers make mistakes all the time. It happens, especially when there are split-second decisions that have to be made. But they're like, oh, well, why didn't you shoot him in the leg? Or why didn't you use your taser? Well, I didn't use my taser because they were using lethal force against me. I'm not using non-lethal force against them. That's not how this works, right? If they're and what? Oh, well, he came at you with a knife. Why did you shoot him? Because inside of 9 feet, they're more dangerous with that knife. They're going to be more lethal with that knife than I am my gun.
Yeah, you don't have the luxury.
Seconds to decide.
Yeah.
What's going to happen. And if they're approaching me with a bladed weapon, I'm in mortal danger. And I'm actually holding a firearm. I'm at a disadvantage, within a few feet. And
if it's holstered, you'll never get it out in time. The guideline is about, but you're asking people to make a split-second call under the most difficult adrenalized conditions. And the fact is, if you don't want to get shot, maybe don't attack cops. Sometimes it can be unjust. That's what courtrooms are for. That's why I love the whole Afro Man story, because those are the kind of cops that give good cops a bad name.
Exactly.
We have both kinds. But did he take off and start a physical altercation with them? No, he took them to court, sued the pants off of them, and won.
And then just literally just made fun of them after the fact, made money off of mocking their asses, just constantly online, and people ate it up. Right.
Oh,
so that was funny.
Super lemonade out of those lemons. Then he made hay while the sun was shining for years. Yep. But not all cops are like that. There are some real bad cops. There's some also real good cops and brave cops.
Absolutely.
Look back at 9/11, all the first responders, but somehow it goes back to this identity politics. When they're talking about a certain situation, all cops are suddenly bad, or all cops are suddenly good. But the last people on earth that should be holding these attitudes are the news organizations that people depend on to get accurate information.
Yep. They're not interested in sharing accurate information. You guys kind of covered that already. It's for them, it's not about accuracy. For them, it's about making sure that they are selling the ideological message behind their reporting. It's specifically like, okay, well, how do we report this? It's just like always, okay, we're going to talk about, a scandal that happened with a congressman. Okay. Are they Democrat or Republican? They're Republican. We say Republican Senator so-and-so. They're Democrats. You just say Senator so-and-so. You don't mention their party affiliation.
You know what my favorite one is? Oh, sorry.
Oh, no. I say on the other side is if they're in the House, they report them as Republican House member such and such involved in scandal. And if they are a Democrat, they report them as Rep such and such, such and such. So that it looks like they're Republicans and not Democrats. There has been research that has shown this. They've shown this bias in reporting over and over again. They want to make sure that they're covering for the people who are ideologically aligned with who's running their state, running their reporting.
And they shouldn't have an ideological alignment. My favorite is that when a male teacher serves grape juice to one of his students, he's serving grape juice. But when a female teacher does it, she's just betting one of her students. I love that one. Oh, and even though it was two different teachers and the same student, it was simply multiple bettings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, no, I'm going to shut up now.
Is chat going off like
No, I was going to say something and then I thought to myself, it's best if you keep your mouth shut and don't say anything.
Oh, well, another example was like the catalytic converters in California. You can't basically keep a car out in the open in LA without it getting burglarized, broken into. And They can't keep the street lights on because all the copper wire keeps getting stolen. So they've just left the streets in pitch black. Every time they spend $3 million to rewire it, the wire gets stolen again. They put up barricades and the barbed wire and fencing gets stolen. Like they're actually stealing minerals and raw materials now. But
Oh yeah.
the point is they were going to pass a law to make possession of unlicensed catalytic converters, because people will do what they're incentivized, right? If you don't get in trouble for stealing something, then you're not going to stop. But they found out if they did that, then the jails quickly filled up with a certain particular kind of person. And they decided that was racist. And I'm thinking, no, it just so happens a certain kind of person loves catalytic converters. They recently found a storage locker with $3.5 million worth of stolen catalytic converters, which happens to cause $25 million in property damage. So your insurance rates go up, my insurance rates go up, the prices of everything goes up, and they're not even punishing the people that are stealing those because it's racist.
Yeah.
Outcomes cannot be racist. Only policies can be racist. If you're punishing a particular crime and it just so happens, and then we get politicians, the ombudsman, and in Minnesota, this was furious with that student. They were saying, oh, she was at the wrong place at the wrong time. I guarantee you, had she been deleted by a white man, that wouldn't have been the narrative that you said. And, she was shot in the back. Well, so I'm just tired of the press not pushing back on this, like not calling people out on their bullshit. That is literally their job.
I wanted to just respond to this. What I was saying was, and I again, this is not going to come out very great, but I will say that I think that men and women are not exactly the same in certain aspects. I mean, I can think of myself, especially as a teenager. I'm not talking if you find out a situation where it's, first of all the situations are bad. If it's a teacher doing something with a student, it's generally bad because it's her, abusing her position. And she shouldn't be doing that. I'm not suggesting that that's okay, but the only thing I'll say is that the part that's like different between men and women, I think that especially as a teenager, I'm talking like 16, 17, 18. I'm sure that if there was a woman like a female teacher in the school that looked nice, the teenage students would notice that, the men. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, but girls have crushes on their male teachers too.
I guess so. But I think that the teenage, I don't know. I think that the teenage male students are more kind of approach that differently. I don't really know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Have you seen some interviews of these men 10, 15 years later that happened to? They are messed up. They've not been able to form healthy relationships. They're not able to trust anybody. They have huge authority issues. I'm not saying it may be the fantasy of every 15-year-old boy, to have some huggy kissy time with this hot teacher.
Yeah.
They are not emotionally equipped for that, man. And you're talking about
that's true. I will still say that I think that it's the responsibility of the female teacher to absolutely not get involved with her students. Yeah. I'm just saying that maybe in some cases you're right. The teenager is not equipped, and it's too much woman too soon, or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, but what do the feminists always tell us about that particular crime? It's not about the sex, it's about power. Well, then it really isn't any different, taking into account the gender of the participants. Mm-hmm. If it's about power, then those boys are equally as messed up as any young lady victim. And, if you happen to reading the Florida blotters, this stuff is happening to 9, 10, 11-year-old boys too.
That is a whole different story. That is let's put it this way. Even if it happened to somebody that was 16, 17, or 18, the teacher should not be doing that because she's responsible. She has a certain job, and as part of that job, she's not allowed to do that. When you bring stories like you just said, when it's something a lot younger, that is a whole different ballgame. Both ball games are bad, but that is a much worse ball game in some way.
Yeah, and Elizabeth Quist points out that women actually emotionally mature before men. So the
Oh.
boys are actually less equipped to deal with this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, I guess all people that are students should not be dealing with this at all. But I
Yeah.
was just saying that I
Yeah.
think still men and women have a different kind of approach mentality. I could be wrong too. I'm not a
Yeah.
woman, so what do I know?
But I feel like the difference between probation and life imprisonment is a little bit too much of a disparity for the penalties that we apportion to these crimes. It is, in some cases, the women don't even lose their jobs. Like, is that not, that's
No, I
madness.
absolutely don't think that the women should be like just given a pass for it. I think that
Yeah.
in both situations it's very bad.
Yeah, and you know, I remember my 8th grade science teacher. I'd still go back, like, absolutely. I'm not going to say her name, but um, we joke about it because there is. You remember the South Park? It's like, oh, he was a boy student. Nice, like. But when it actually happens and you look at the measurable consequences that it has on these people's lives, you realize that as much as it seems different, it's a horrible thing. But again, you know, since all men are evil inherently, especially all white men are evil, why should we even care what happens to them? You know?
Right.
That's
I don't know how we
that's
went
the view
down
of the
this.
news.
How did we get here? I think
I don't know.
we need to take a sharp left turn. We need to reverse the car.
Yeah,
get
it
out
was-
whatever ditch we've fallen into.
It was bias
Back
in the
on the
news
road.
and how
Yeah,
they
yeah.
report incorrectly about stuff.
Yeah, and
Yes.
then talking about how different ways that crimes are treated and stuff.
And
It's,
for good
yeah.
measure, I just want to clarify that I think that whether it's a male or female teacher, they both should not be doing anything with any of their students. One, obviously in high school they shouldn't, but I also think that if it's a college situation, I don't know how things used to be. Maybe there was like looser restrictions back in the 60s or 70s, but I think that these days it's very important that the college professors also steer away from that.
Hey man, she was
I'm
just
feeling
TA.
targeted right now. What do you?
Oh, sorry, Professor. I
no,
wasn't suggesting
like-
that you are.
No,
into
no,
that
no.
sort
I'm
of-
kidding. It's hilarious. It is actually
Yeah.
hilarious. There is still this perception because of movies back in the 70s and 80s, right? There is still this perception that somehow there's professors going around banging their young students.
It seems like it would be happening, yeah.
I've got an intern, and he's like this doesn't happen.
And Professor,
it happens. It happens very, very rarely, and when it does, it's almost always a situation that ends up with somebody getting fired because again, there's a power dynamic there. There's an abuse of your position. There's all kinds of other stuff that's going on there, and perhaps they are two consenting adults, but one of them has a responsibility to provide services to students within the school and to do so without any kind of complications, shall we say. And to be involved in that kind of thing is incredibly unheard of.
Yeah,
today.
and their position literally depends on their good judgment. You were training the adults of tomorrow. But we used to joke, Prof, you'll get this. The line, it was just a TA. Don't worry about it, because that's a teaching assistant, and that's slightly different.
Wait a second. I love this quote here from Six. It says, "I never know what kind of bad takes I'm going to walk into on this channel." Go on, Insta. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, listen,
Welcome,
guys. I'm happy to stick around, but if you need me to bail because
no, stick around. You're good.
All right. But maybe we can move on to how CNN's fuck ups and what we think are gonna happen now.
Yes, I don't know how we got from CNN to this strange conversation.
Oh, yeah, I'm assuming because I was in and out while I was resetting. You talked about the Michael J. Fox thing already, right? So I'm assuming that was
that Michael J. Fox thing was really pathetic. I don't
bizarre.
know. You think that any kind of minimum research would show that he didn't pass away, and to announce that a guy, it's so amateur. You know what I mean? Like you're pretending.
It is. It's horribly amateur. I'm like, literally, all you needed to do was find like 3 sources. Go check TMZ for God's sake. Like they're going to be the ones to tell you, "Hey, we found out he's dead." Right? They're going to, it's so stupid. This is the kind of, like you said, it's amateur hour. This is the kind of mistake some moron on Twitter makes.
Right.
Not
and
a news agency that is supposed to have reporters. They're supposed to have people there who do research, and they're reporting that someone's dead who's not. I mean, that's pathetic.
I myself wouldn't post that. You know what I'm saying? Like, forget about CNN that are worth like I don't know how many billions of dollars. I'm me, and I don't think that just I would post that online unless I was 100% sure that this is real. There is no way that I post that, and like nobody cares what I post. You know what I mean? And I still wouldn't post that. So
yeah, when I saw Chuck Norris died, I made sure to verify it 3 different news sites before I would even tweet it, and I only get 5 people looking at my tweets.
Yeah, same. I saw someone post about that. They said something, and I went, "No, someone's making a joke," So I hopped out and looked around a little, and I found a couple of other places, like legit news sources, and a couple other people that I trust, and I was like, "Oh man, that's real. This sucks," right? It's like, I feel like every other day someone's trying to say that William Shatner's passed away or something. It's like, no, he's not gone.
I had this thought that somebody at the CNN newsroom today was, okay, I need you to find me somebody named Michael J. Fox that did die today so we can still be right. Like, we got 50 states. There's got to be a Michael J. Fox in one of them that's not his lucky day. I just feel like did they do a retraction? Did they print or announce an apology? Did they come up with any sort of explanation for this?
Not that I know of.
God, I get the year wrong on a movie on Mr. Brown. I'm like, oh, I got that year wrong. Sorry. Like, I just, I like to try to be as accurate as possible. But you're right. They have fact checkers. They have researchers. They have ombudsmen. They have editors. And I just think the rush to get clicks and the rush to be first far outweighs their incentive now to be accurate.
So it sounds like, I've just real quick AI summary that I got here, kind of looking up to see exactly what was going on. I got an article from USA Today, and so it looks like apparently what happened. This has happened before, so this is not the first time. In fact, I remember this happening, I believe, with the New York Times at one point, another big news place, that this was a pre-written obituary package. That this actually happens a lot. If you guys in the audience don't know, a lot of these publishers, they will go out there, they will have staff writers, maybe even interns that will write up, even like edit video packages and stuff for famous people, so that when they do pass away, when something does happen to William Shatner, they've already got an obituary, they've already got a video package, they've already got everything. All they have to do is hop in real quick and make the last couple of edits to say how they passed and when and stuff like that, and then bang, they can publish it, and they've got that full thing out there. And so it sounds like, at least what is coming from CNN, is that this was a pre-produced, pre-written segment that was accidentally released. It was not supposed to have been published and put into their put out there. So it's absolutely bizarro thing. But yeah, to have both a written segment and then have this video package memorializing Michael J. Fox that goes out, like, what? Wow.
And you mentioned the New York Times. They are even worse and more egregious. Like, what a downfall to happen to that company. That used to be the paper of record. And now they are so warped and twisted by both TDS and propaganda that you can't even take their trivial stories at face value anymore.
Quickly, I just want to point out the Dead Man here with a 4.99 super chat. Thank you, the Dead Man, who has his own Star Trek channel, which you should check out. He writes, "Doesn't matter if you're underage or under." I agree. Generally speaking, if you're a teacher, you can find somebody to do something with you that's not your student. Once you do that, you're doing something wrong. You're absolutely doing that. And at the end of the day, it shouldn't be, I guess, a double standard for why they do this and why do they do that. Uh, I was pointing out that I thought that, at least trying to think of myself in high school, especially in the later years, like 11th or 12th grade, I feel like, I don't know, maybe Ista is right, and those guys, they're not equipped, to be with emotionally, to be with like older women and all that other stuff. And in any case, it's wrong. But I don't know. I think that, boys that age are strange, but that's, I guess, all I
Yeah.
was saying. But it doesn't excuse any behavior like this. And any teacher should absolutely just not do it. And if you're a professor, you should steer away from that as well. I mean, these days, it's not only that, you even have like companies where you can't date like colleagues and things like that.
Yeah.
It's to an extreme these days. I do think that back in the day, people met each other at work and there wasn't like the internet and all these like Tinder and all these things. A lot of times there were like relationships and romances at work. It was a more common thing. Over the years, though, it really changed and the rules changed in a way that like it's no longer acceptable there. So, I mean, these days, basically, if you're in a position of power, you do not do anything with anybody.
Yeah.
Like,
Now,
whatever it is that you do it somewhere else, regardless if it's even not minors. You just don't do it.
yeah, I do have two quick stories, and I don't want to stay on this, but it feels important enough to bring up. There's that one kid, he was kind of older, and the teacher was very young. She did get fired, but they ended up getting married, and they are still together. It's been like 10 or 11 years later. But on the other hand, there's that kid who, when the teacher finally realized that she couldn't continue and she had to dump him, he could not handle it, and very bad things happened. So, like when I'm thinking I'm 16, I'm all gun ho, let's go. But dude, my first breakup was rough enough without it having to be like a teacher, like.
Nice to see you, One Dirty Bird. Sorry.
Yeah. So when you got to think about when it goes wrong or when it ends too, are the people emotionally equipped to deal with it? It's just, it's even gross thinking about it. But I want to say there are always edge cases. There's always exceptions, but we don't base legislation or policy on edge cases, because when you do, that's how you get some of the weirder things that are happening now.
Yep. And
Stream killer.
Okay, so we went over that, the Dead Man. Thank you for the super chat.
Yes, as always. Thank you.
Thank you. And then what else? There was something else that I wanted to talk about. What
Supergirl?
was it? Oh, okay. I've been reading recently that there's all these Supergirl test screenings that went bad. Do we know, is there like any kind of good source for it, or is it all like some person that like
let's see. Seems like I read something somewhere.
I think I've been reading it.
I heard the opposite, that sort of James Gunn has a private source at the Wrap that he uses basically as his mouthpiece to get all of the Contra stories out there. I think there was some fairly confirmed stories or evidence about the test screenings going bad.
Yeah,
then
I
immediately,
think we might have mentioned this one the other day, Price. I think this. Hold on, if I can get it to share. No, do not share audio. Okay. This is one from World of Real, which is generally pretty reliable in this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Talking about all of the test screenings that have happened, and all of the all of the reviews sort of that have been coming out of that, and the fact that they've changed composers multiple. Literally, this movie is coming out in months. Like you can count the number of days from here to when it comes out, and like we still don't even know who's going to be the composer for this thing, for sure.
Yeah, and they don't know how it's going to end yet, because they haven't settled on an ending. So,
yeah, they've had to toss out endings, try these endings over and over again. It's because it's not, apparently it's not working.
Yeah.
And of
Yeah.
course, we also got the trailers from the first to the second, teaser trailer that, completely different tones for those two different trailers. One was kind of a little quirky and weird, very much, Supergirl, Guardians of the Galaxy kind of a thing. And then the second one is kind of a downer and kind of emotional emo kind of thing. It's like, what are we doing? Like, what kind of a movie is this? What is this about? What's the tone
Yeah.
of the film? Like, it's all over the place. I don't think
Yeah.
they know what this movie is going to be. I don't think it's going to be finished until days before it goes to theaters.
If then, and they might start changing it once it's released. But I think if World of Real says over 8 test screenings, I think you can pretty much count on that. But the article in the wrap then has Gunn coming out basically denying all of this.
Yeah, that's
But
what I also think was happening. So
yeah,
was that from today?
yeah. So what does that? What is the head of a studio with everything they are responsible for? What are they even doing on Twitter or Blue Sky or Threads? Like, dude, you need to shut the F up and go take care of business. You've got enough to do, man. Like, don't be arguing with haters online kind of thing. It makes you look so petty.
Usually all that stuff that he does online, it's all like, him trying to do damage control. It's funny because somebody, and I had no way of verifying it, if it was real or not. There was a time once where it seemed that like somebody had quote unquote a concern or was like bringing up something and James Gunn was answering him and somebody claimed that he made a mistake, that both accounts were his. It was like a burner account. It's like as if you Ista had two accounts and one was like saying, Ista, I really love your work, and then the other Ista is like, thank you, that's so kind of you to say that. So somebody thought that James Gunn had done something like that and they caught him posting with the wrong account. uh there were
Yeah,
some
that was
screenshots that,
hilarious.
yeah, I mean, there were some screenshots that went around, but I had no way of verifying it. So I've always been kind of hesitant because I don't want to be like CNN. You know what I mean? The thing is that I actually believe that James Gunn would have a burner and would do that, but I can't say it because I don't know for sure. Like, I will still say that it's like, it's hearsay and rumors that like sound really logical to me, but I can't say that it's true, you know?
Well, it's not just that. I read the tweets. It looked, I mean, if it wasn't real, it was perfectly set up to be that. You know, it was like premier #1 James Gunn fan account. And they basically almost answered a question before he posted it. It was that sort of absurd. But don't the studios, they have press people for this. Why does the head of the studio need to get out and start doing damage control? You know, that's what PR people are for. And we're not talking about like, making your own 16 millimeter film in your garage with your friends. This is a $1 billion studio. They must have enormous amounts of press people, reps, liaisons, PR people.
Okay, I want to show this. And I want to say it 100%. Oh, this is what
Okay.
you're saying, that he rebukes the Deadline Superman casting report.
So this
what
is
it
a
that
slightly different thing. It's not about the screenings that he's talking about, but this is the most recent article I found in the wrap that had to do with James Gunn. So I
Yeah,
would
let's
Okay.
look at it.
So yeah, he's saying basically that there was some casting reports that were coming out that through Deadline, which of course, big Hollywood outlet. It's not scrolling. What is going on? Oh, there we go. So Deadline had said that Adria is it Arjona or Arjona? I don't know.
Arjona, yeah.
Ella Purnell, Marissa Abella were up for a role in the Superman sequel, Man of Tomorrow, but James Gunn says it is bull S-T. Okay. Today's reporting is shoddy and inaccurate. I always thought Deadline was pretty tough on their journalism, but that's not the case here. So I'm frankly disappointed. If someone would have run these names by us, we would have said bullshit. So the report from Deadline was that there was these 3 different actresses that were up for the role of Maxima, a humanoid alien queen and conqueror from the planet Almerac. Not a DC character, I'm familiar with, to be quite honest with you.
No, I've never heard of her, but he's come out publicly and said how much he loves Adria Arona and even considers casting her for Wonder Woman. So the reporting's not that shoddy because he's already said how much he likes her.
I don't hate that actress, but I don't love her either.
Yeah, I don't like her for Wonder Woman though, not at all.
Yeah, I don't think I like her for Wonder Woman either. You know why? You know why I don't like her, and I could be wrong? Because she doesn't generate that kind of warmth. You know what I mean? I will say that maybe Gal Gadot is not the greatest actress, but she did have this like kind of welcoming vibe, and I don't feel it.
Absolutely.
I don't feel that from A.J. Arjona. And actually, I'll say that Linda Carter had that kind of positive vibe that I like as well. Adrian Arjona seems kind of like, I'm not saying I don't know her, and maybe in person it's not the personality that I'm about to say. I could be completely wrong, but she gives more of a vibe like she's a bitch. Now, I'm not saying she is a bitch. I'm saying that's the vibe that she gives as to Phobos.
Yeah,
I don't want you to get the wrong impression about me.
No, I get serious Michelle Rodriguez vibes from her, more girl boss really than bitchy.
Yeah.
You know, tough
Is
guy.
this Arjona up here on the right? Is that Arjona?
I think so. She was the one that basically in Andor, she's the one that said that there was
yes. Okay.
you know what I'm saying? There
juice.
was grape juice is being served to her or whatever it is.
Okay, yes, that's who that is. Okay, the name sounded familiar. I could not place it. So
yeah, I got to double down with Gal Gadot. She's not a great actress, maybe, but she definitely has that charisma, that charm, and warmth. Absolutely, like when she's consoling Charlie, like she is. She'd make a great nurse, man. And it's not just because she's hot, because both of these women are hot, but one of them definitely exudes the kind of warmth and sort of maternal instinct that you get.
Right. I mean, you need the combination of the warmth, but also badass. And I feel like Arjona doesn't give me the warmth vibe. She seems. I don't dislike Michelle Rodriguez either, and I'm not saying I would dislike Adria Arjona and everything that I saw her. Although I didn't like the whole grape juice thing, but that was me personally. I could have done without that. But I'm saying that generally speaking, I don't hate her. I don't think that she's awful. She doesn't look bad. She's not a terrible actress, and yet, with all of that being said, doesn't give Wonder Woman vibes to me at all. So I'm not a fan of this casting. He did kind of mention, like he said, that he liked her. I don't know if he did actually audition her for the role or not. But I will say this. Did he say that it's incorrect or inaccurate? He said it's incorrect.
He said
he said it is bullshit, is what he said. That they're reporting on this these names. We would have said it was bullshit. So he's saying that the rumor that these ladies are up for the role of Maxima is crap. That's not happening. I don't know. You know what? He could say that. Maybe it's because it's for a different role. It's not actually for Maxima. It's for something else, right?
Yeah, I was trying to read between the lines of what he was saying, and even if it's wrong, like what is sort of what are the consequences of this being wrong that are so that
let's look at the response though.
Ask for such a nuclear response from him.
What's the response from Deadline? I see that they have a thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
What do they say?
Deadline says they went through their normal editorial process in the news gathering for today's story on Superman's sequel, Man of Tomorrow. After a review in light of new information regarding the actors involved, the story is being updated. So it's got an updated story on it. So I don't know exactly what that means. So what that updated story specifically says, but we could try and find it.
He looks really super there. Like I like that look for him. He looks more Superman-y. I see Adria Arona as playing Hawk Girl. She's the kind of person that would murder a foreign prime minister in cold blood by dropping him from the sky.
Yeah, well, they already have their Hawk Girl, and she's perfectly capable of slaughtering people without any kind of emotional
without thinking twice
investment. Yes. Yeah. So here's the updated article. Zeroing in on choice for another key role in Superman sequel. Grace Van Patten. Ugh, please no. Alien Earth lead Sydney Chandler again.
Oh God,
Please,
no.
please no. Cleaning ladies, Ava De Domenici. Yeah, sure. And then Andor's Adria Arjona among those being beginning to test last week. Okay, so they were being told that it was the character Maxima, Warrior Queen from Planet
Oh,
Almerac from Action Comics 645 in 1990. Oh, well, that nails it down. So happy to know
oh,
that it's some character that appeared in one comic book in the
Oh, wait,
1990s.
well,
Could-
do you think they're trying to cast for Wonder Woman, but trying to keep it under wraps? So they're using a different Warrior Queen kind of
Entirely possible,
character?
yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm wondering, why are they casting somebody for we never heard of? That's the last place they want to be right now.
I think James Gunn should just make a movie without 70 people in it. Why can't he just do a movie with like, why is he casting like 20 other roles? Nobody even wants your stupid movies. You know, most people, if they had a successful Superman, they'd make a sequel to that. He already is doing a sequel that's not a sequel because he's adding this and he's adding that. The whole thing that went wrong in the past was that Warner Brothers was trying to rush the process and to get like an instant Avengers. But what did James Gunn do the second he got there? Did the same thing. 70 million characters, all thinking about more spin-offs and more options and more this and more that. The whole idea was he needed to build something solid and he needed one Superman movie that was decent, and he's been given a lifeline, which he doesn't deserve, to make this Man of Tomorrow. Instead of focusing on what that story is and how he really focuses in on Superman and making him the hero and making him heroic, he's already, derailed that. The whole thing of him with Lex Luthor, the thing where he's going to add all these cameos and all these people, he's not capable of making these movies.
Yeah. I don't think he's capable of making a story about a single hero and a single villain. He's an ensemble kind of guy. That's his wheelhouse. And he's really just made the same movie over and over again since Guardians 1.
Yeah, you were gonna say he's an ensemble kind of guy. He's a Guardians of the Galaxy guy. That's all he makes now. He just makes Guardians of the Galaxy over and over and over and over again. He's a one-trick pony, right? Exactly. Yeah.
So and look at everything else. Look at the cartoons he made. Look at Peacemaker. They're all exactly. They're all
exactly. They are.
Yeah,
they're quippy, and they have a whole different. They're all about this group of people that's all quirky, and it's no. Thanks.
I want to answer 6 because she's asking this many times, and I want to put this to rest.
I was about to tell her. Okay.
In Andor, there's a scene where an Imperial officer walks into where this Adria Arjona is, and basically he wants to have his way with her because he knows that she lied about her citizenship or whatever it is, and he wants to, take advantage of her. And when she doesn't agree, he kind of starts trying to just do it even without approval for such endeavors. And then what she does is, I think she shoots him or something like that, and she runs out and she says, "That man just tried to serve me grape juice." And that's what happens in Andor. Now, personally, I think that there were ways of suggesting that was happening without it going so all in on that matter. Because at the end of the day, I think in Star Wars, whether it's Andor or something more lighthearted, I think that was a step, an extra step that probably wasn't necessary there. It felt like out of place to me. But some people love Andor, so what do I know? So
yeah,
you love Andor, it's fine. I don't hate Andor. I think that there's moments of Andor that I liked. I think that if you gave me the 12 episodes or whatever, 19 episodes, whatever episodes there are, or you gave it to a professional editor that would edit it down to maybe like half or a third of the time, just choosing the best parts, you may have had a fantastic miniseries. But unfortunately, it becomes very uneven and very problematic with its pacing, which is why I can't, love Andor personally.
Yeah. And I like her, especially season 1 is Bix. She's perfect. We're just saying, that's who that was. And we joked about it being kind of an awkward thing to see in a Star Wars show. But mostly we're saying, Wonder Woman needs to have a different kind of vibe. I personally, she's too old now, but I love Alexandra Daddario, and I thought she would have been perfect for Wonder
Okay,
Woman.
so first of all, I want to again address what Six is saying. I'm not holding anything against Adria Arjona for saying it.
Yeah.
She is an actress. She got paid. They gave her the line to say she said it. I will say that sometimes there could be a situation that an actor or an actress are involved in something, and once they're already involved in that pop culture moment, it's somehow difficult to disconnect them. For example, I always thought that Laura Dern was a good actress if you see her in those kind of Jurassic movies or whatever it is. But after seeing her as Vice Admiral Holdo, I will always think of Vice Admiral Holdo when I see her, and somehow it's not to her benefit. It doesn't mean that
Yep.
I'll like get up and I refuse to watch her in a movie. It's just there's something like a negative association that's tied to her that's hard to get rid of. Uh, the actress that plays Ray, Daisy Ridley. I don't hate her, but the truth is when I see her, I think about Ray, and when I think about Ray, I think about the sequel trilogy. When I think about the sequel trilogy, I think about Disney taking a dump on the fans and how much it annoyed me. And you're saying, well, it's not nice that by association you've attached all of this to Daisy Ridley. And you're right, it's not nice. But sometimes the mind plays strange tricks on you, and there's just nothing you can do.
Yeah, I want to say I think Daisy Ridley is a delightful human being. She is so charming, and I love the first 20 minutes of The Force Awakens. But it's a curse for almost every Star Wars actor except Harrison Ford. It's almost a curse. You get typecast, you get pigeonholed in this role. It is almost impossible to see her and not think about Rey. But I still love watching her interviews. She's so charming and happy and a positive kind of person. I really do like her. It would just be hard to see her as anything else. That's just, kind of life sometimes.
Yeah, no.
It's like Price, like you're saying, like now when they release Incredibles 3, the only thing I'm going to be able to think about is the captain curling up like a cat in her in her seat in Star Trek and slurring every single line that comes out of her mouth.
Absolutely. Actually, Holly Hunter now, if I see her in something else, she's lost
Yeah, that's
points.
it. That's what I'm saying. Now I hear
I
her talking in, Incredibles 3. Whenever that comes out, I'm just going to be like, it reminds me of that absolute just abomination of a show.
Yeah, and I used to love her, man. Raising Arizona was one of my favorite movies. The news radio, not news radio, the new
even Paul Giamatti is in hot water.
Yeah. Anybody associated with that show is at least temporarily in the doghouse for me, if not permanent. Broadcast news. Number.
In a sports game when you get a suspension for several games for doing something bad, I feel like that's what happened to Holly Hunter and Paul Giamatti at minimum.
Yeah, they're in the penalty box for a minimum of 5 years. I can't take it. But Kurtzman's never coming out of that for me. I will never contribute a single penny to anything he's involved in.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to contribute anything to him.
So nobody really answered my question. Chad, if you have an idea, I feel like Gunn's reaction to a rather quotidian story about some actresses auditioning was absolutely nuclear and uncalled for. So what do you think triggered? Don't you think so? It's just whether it was right or wrong, it's just these actresses, mostly good, they auditioned for a role and then a Superman movie and he loses it. He flips out. What's going on with that?
I'll be honest with you. The reaction that I get from that when I see somebody kind of flipping out over something that feels meaningless. It's a casting rumor. So what? To me, it's a bit of a the lady doth protest too much, methinks, kind of a situation where oh, damn it, I didn't want anyone to know we were looking at those actresses because that was going to be my Wonder Woman. That kind of a thing, right? Yeah. That's what it feels like to me. He that was a secret he was trying to keep. He didn't want anybody to know that he was doing something with those actresses, or maybe he was going to use the character of Maxima or something like that. I don't know. Nah,
Yeah.
that's BS or whatever.
Well,
Like it's again like the situation where like they actually hit it right on the nose, or
yeah.
they were talking about something that he didn't want people talking about because he was trying to keep it a secret, and now the secret's out, and
And
he's
he
upset.
Streisand affects it by,
Yep. Yeah.
highlighting it. Whenever you have a disproportionate response, it should. But that's a good answer to my question. Now I'm twice as convinced they are trying to stealth cast Wonder Woman.
Very very
Well,
likely.
there's
But
one thing, is there still more in any of these articles, Professor?
Well, this one does go on. It talks about, this character has shown up before. The character of Maxima. It was in Smallville, Supergirl. It was also featured in the animated series, which I was chatting with Phantom Outsider in the chat. I actually did. Yeah, I remember that one. It's been a while since I watched through Superman the animated series, but I remember that. But it talks about some of the other actresses and some of the jobs, work that they've been in recently, and then talking about the new film and when that's due out. Probably Gunn's last film with Warner Brothers
yeah,
for a while. Just gonna be just entirely honest.
That's what it seems
There's
like.
been a lot of rumors out there. Price has been talking about them too.
yeah.
I genuinely think Gunn is toast. I
I
think
think that. I mean, I
when
was one of the first people to say it, but now
you
it's
were,
just so obvious that I don't make a video
yeah,
every 5 minutes because I don't know what more to say. Like, I said it so early, and now it's just played out the way it seemed to be playing out for me. But what I want to show you is this, and I want to clarify. I want to clarify. There is a good chance that what I'm showing you now is not true. Okay, I myself don't know if to believe it. I struggle with this because the thing is that there's something believable about it, but I don't know if it's something that somebody did in Photoshop. I can say that I've seen this uh, circle around many times over the past maybe 6 months to a year. Every now and then this comes up, and I never have a way. I don't know how to figure out this is real or not. I'd love to find out. Maybe somebody could help me. But I'm showing you this, and I want to say it. This is beyond rumor. This is most likely not true. Okay? It's something that was circulating. It's probably not true, and I'm showing it to you just so we can have fun with it, okay?
okay.
I want to
Okay.
clarify. So what happened is this was the thing that was being shared, that basically somebody claimed that they managed to take a screenshot of this, and it's probably not true. I am 100% here at Price of Reason Studios. We do not take responsibility for this. This is likely not true. So James Gunn allegedly, probably not, wrote, yes, and there are other cool characters. Okay, DC Gunn, Gunn said, is it true that Anya Charlotta is playing, what's this one? Cersei?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, Cersei.
In Creature Commandos, and then he wrote, yes, and there are other cool characters in the show, played by other cool actors, but all of the series regulars were announced. And then, apparently, according to some, at that point, James Gunn wrote to himself, because he thought it was the other account, allegedly, which is not true. He wrote, you are a true visionary, James. DC is lucky to have you. Smiley with hearts for eyes.
I think it's him, man. I think it's him.
Mhm.
I totally think it's him.
The thing is that for some reason in this case I believe it, and I feel so bad. I want more proof. It may be not true. Like, how do I know? Maybe it's like a lie. First of all, Joe Higachi gave a $2 Rumble rant, so I'm highlighting that here with his guitar. Thank you so much. I like guitar as well, so we both like guitar, and I appreciate the Rumble rant.
Yeah, apparently, but not Eric Clapton, though.
Hold on one second. I don't even know. This is going to be a painful one to go over, but let me go. There's another super chat that I have to go over. This one's going to be difficult. Let's see.
we also have a Rumble rant as well, although it's just an emoji. So
I think that
share that
was the
when you're
guitar.
ready.
I just said it.
Yeah.
Is there another one?
No, that's it. Sorry.
Okay. Oh, I thought I was losing it, Professor. I was at the end. It was you that was losing it.
That was me.
uh,
I was the one losing it. Sorry.
okay, at least in this one instance, it was you and not me. At least
I
that
told you, man. I'm tired. I'm exhausted, man.
it happens.
This
I'll
has
tell
been
you
an
what.
absolute burnout of a week. I'm so fried.
I understand, and I'll tell you this: there have been many a shows that I have felt that way. You know, maybe I didn't sleep well, and this is a nightly show, and there have been plenty of times that the professor has had to carry me when I'm like, crashing and burning. So it's only fair. It's only fair. You have a pretty stable track record, Professor. So it's
Yeah, I'm
only fair
happy
that
to
once
help
in a while
too.
I could do that for you as well. Six says, I went back to the grape juice part. I was wrong. You guys definitely didn't even imply what I quote unquote heard. Thank you for clarifying. Price has ED. All right. I don't know exactly. I'm not sure how you pieced all of this together, Six, but all right. I don't even know what you thought you heard when you thought it, but as long as there's a $5 super chat and you're happy, then I'm happy as well. It's better than her being not happy with me. I'll say that. And I do like Six. Six is a friend of the channel. I've always
Yeah.
liked her.
And it's not necessarily ED. When you get a certain age, like have you remember, have you ever driven an old Mercedes diesel? It takes a while to get going, but once you're going, man, you couldn't
No.
stop it with a tank.
Oh, I just thought she was saying he was an executive director.
That is absolutely what she meant, and that's what I am.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then forget what I just
In any case, back to this thing. How do we find out, Professor Ista? I have two minds with me here. How do we find out if this story is true or not? I want to settle this once and for all because I feel like if we can find out that this is real, that this really is very important. It's an important piece of the puzzle, but I don't know how to find it.
Oh, it's so hard because you got to see like when they've interacted with other people and who's interacted with them. Are they around during similar times of the day, right? Like what are active hours between the two accounts and stuff like that? Yeah, but that's weird.
I and look and see what their record of posting is, but I have an idea. Let's turn this one over to Master of the TDS. He is like the Twitter detective. I bet he could figure it out.
Okay.
This is over on what, like Instagram?
So wait a second. If I share this thing, do you see it?
Oh, yeah. Threads. I forgot Gunn was into Threads.
That's what he loves. He loves Threads. That's where he goes to do this. So there is the tweet and there is this thing that he said. But the question is, if there was really a comment, obviously if it was him, he would have deleted it. Oh, somebody here in January, this was in 2024, okay? So we're looking 2 years back. And somebody wrote, "Why did you compliment yourself in the third person?" And then somebody answers him, "Nice Photoshop job, cultist. You really thought you did something here." I wonder though if somebody took the time to really Photoshop that or if it was real. I mean, somebody could have Photoshopped it, but like I said, there's so many people that I wouldn't believe it on, and somehow I kind of do believe it.
Listen, it just rings so true to me. I don't know how else to say it. In fact, you know what? I think I'm going to make this my truth, regardless of any continuing evidence.
Yeah, since it's your truth, no one can refute that.
Yeah, exactly.
I do have an idea.
Yes. It is true for you.
I know what to do. I think I have an idea. You two talk for a second.
Okay. I think Alexandra Daddario would have been the perfect Wonder Woman, 10 years ago. I don't know. I just think she's wonderful. She has the look. She has the athleticism. She played Athena in the, the Percy Jackson movie. She is just perfect casting right there. She was amazing in True Detective, so she's got the acting chops. So for whatever it's worth,
I can't find it.
Hmm.
I'll never be able to know if this is real or not.
Are you looking for that exact screenshot on Threads? Is that what we're?
Okay, this is from Threads, but the problem is that he's deleted it. If it was really
Ah.
him and he wrote it, he deleted it.
Ooh, well, I think that's more evidence for.
Well, but if somebody just took that thing and did a Photoshop, theoretically, this is the part why I can't report on it. At the time, somebody took seemingly a screenshot and said, "Why did you delete this comment?" Or "Why did you compliment yourself?" or whatever it was. And now I can't find that comment. Now the question is if the guy that posted his post was basically playing around in Photoshop and was trying to make James Gunn look bad, or he
Ah,
really took a screenshot and was asking James Gunn why he gave himself a compliment.
well, have you tried the Wayback Machine,
I
the
just did
internet?
while you were telling
Oh,
jokes and it said nothing. Can't find it.
hmm.
So
You know, they say the internet's forever, but not when I'm looking for stuff. It isn't. Like,
let's see one thing.
I feel like that's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it is strange though. First of all, it's strange that in 2024 he was even using Threads. I mean, didn't even know if anybody was using it. Like, I think less people use it now, but at the time, more people use it now than less, but even now, not a lot of people use it.
Yeah, a lot of people fled to Blue
Blue
Sky
Sky.
until they realized how many PDF files were
Files,
over there
yeah.
and maps, lots of maps and PDF files, and so they decided to run to Threads,
Yeah,
and then a lot of them just stopped posting altogether because it's pointless.
yeah, Blue Sky is really a cesspool. It's scary. Plus, you
Oh,
can't
it's
even
revolting.
say, yeah. And that's why you see so many people who declared they're leaving Twitter, but they're like right back a few months later. And
Yeah. Yep, it's appalling.
Let's see if
so, on a side note, have you guys seen all the memes with Supergirl where they're replacing her face with like the feral kid from Road Warrior?
I
Yeah, I
have
and
did
uh,
see
not
that.
seen that.
and Sid from Land of the Lost? It's absolutely hilarious because that one photo where she's like going, she's straining, and she absolutely looks like the feral kid from Road Warrior. Let me see if
Yeah.
I can find it. I'll DM it to you, Price, if I can find it.
Oh man, I was just looking through some of my links here, and I still had open. So did it's completely off topic, but that's what we do here on the Night Owl. um, did, did you guys see the SNL sketch about Black Snape this
Oh
weekend?
yes,
I
yeah.
did see it, but I will say this. And Ista mentioned it to me as well. It was pretty interesting to see that on Saturday Night Live, but I feel like anything I've seen online people joking has been funnier than their sketch.
Oh, absolutely. But it was just shocking that SNL would actually do something to like approach it from the direction they did. They weren't defending it. They weren't, showing, trying to point out everyone who's against the casting as racist. In fact, quite the opposite. They pointed out a lot of the same things that people in the community have been talking about, things we've been talking about on here, like, hey, you change this character and suddenly a whole bunch of people in the show now look like they're racist because they're saying, oh, he's the bad guy. I love in the sketch where they were like, he's like, somebody steals something and everybody looking at Black Snape.
Yeah.
Right. The thing is that what I felt was, and I'm not going to lie to you, I almost feel like they watched the Black Snape video that appeared on Nerdrotic's channel
Oh yeah.
and were
Yeah,
like
kinda.
reverse engineering it to sort of like fit whatever they do on Saturday Night Live, but making fun of it in a similar way, which was interesting because we're not used to that. But I think that maybe SNL is desperately trying to stay relevant in some way, and B, I still think that they're way behind. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's symbolic. It's something interesting that they actually went there, but I still think that the stuff that like the kind of humor that we were engaged in and even saw other people engaged in online was funnier.
Oh, it absolutely was. I think they had to temper it a little bit, but I was just still shocked. Like,
Yes.
obviously they were watching. The Wandering Genie on the YouTube chat says it's almost like the writers were watching YouTubers. They absolutely were.
Yeah.
In fact,
Absolutely.
every damn week they're watching YouTubers and they're reproducing sketches, they're reproducing bits that they're stealing from YouTubers. I've seen videos that go on for half an hour talking about, oh, look, they stole this sketch from this YouTuber and they stole this sketch from, from this comedian, and they stole, like, that's all they do now. They can't, they're not even comedy writers anymore. But yeah, they absolutely, they looked at all of the people talking about it. It was just fascinating that they took that direction for their response, because you would expect them to do something completely opposite, defending him as a black character and everything. But on, instead they were pointing out, like I said, the same thing a lot of people in our community, in the Harry Potter fandom and stuff, have been pointing out that, yeah, changing that character in particular, not other characters, that character in particular, making him black, causes a lot of problems with the actual telling of the story. You could make Dumbledore black and produce fewer issues for the story than by making Snape a black man. So yeah, I thought that was actually quite hilarious.
Yeah, and the other thing is having that particular girl cast as Hermione. Like,
Yeah.
are they really going to have the balls to call her a mudblood? Like,
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this much. It's pretty much guaranteed that she is going to be a much more central character in this TV show than she was in the books. They're, they're going to have to make her. In fact, did you see they released a behind the scenes video thing, like, to try and fight off, some of this criticism that they've gotten about the show. And now, like, people are pointing out stuff in there that's a big deal. Like, basically, at one point they say they're reimagining Harry Potter, and they talk about Hermione, and they talk about how, oh, she's got real main character energy now. And it's like, oh God, yeah, we see it coming. We know what you're doing. We know what you're doing. They're not going to rewrite it so that Hermione's the main character and Harry Potter's not, but she's going to be calling all the guys stupid. She's going to be showing them up. She's going to be taking all of Ron's lines, just like she did in the movies. It's like, it's obvious.
I kind of thought she was almost the main character in the movies as it is anyway. She was always the one doing all the heavy lifting. She was the one that was really good at magic and coming up with all the ideas. I kind of felt it was close to having her that way to begin with.
They did a bit in the movies, but not overly so.
Yeah.
But they did, as I said, like in the films, there were numerous places where they put Ron's character in the background and basically just made him the screw up, the dummy.
Yeah,
They gave her extra lines. They gave her more stuff to do so that they could have a female character that was more central to the story, and only one male character that was central to the story for the most part. So
they definitely did Ron dirty from the books, man. That was
there's no question.
Well, I guess I can't really figure out if this is the real thing or not.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me, but I don't know if it's real.
Yeah. No, it wouldn't. That sounds like something like just a real beta cuck kind of move that somebody like James Gunn would pull. Like, he needs an ego boost, so he's going to go create an alt and have conversations with the alt about how great he is.
No,
like that.
Let me put it this way, that if it's not true, whoever did it understood James Gunn very well. Do you get what I mean? Just like you're saying.
Yeah. It seems it's bizarro, right? Just bizarre.
Yeah, I kind of think, like I said, it's going to be my truth, like it or not. It works for me. It really does sort of fit. But, even taking that aside, look at all the other little skirmishes and little cat fights he's gotten into on Threads and Twitter. It's so undignified for the head of a billion-dollar movie studio. It's just absurd.
He's very petty, and a lot of times, like, I don't know why he takes everything so personal and he has to go everywhere and talk this and talk that. At the end of the day, if you're doing really well, then none of this matters.
Yeah.
If Superman made $1 billion, they could have whatever rumors they want, and nothing would matter to anybody. The fact that he's always like jumping and protecting and doing all this stuff, always on the defensive, is because somewhere, in spite of all of his bullshit, he knows that something isn't going well for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a lot of his actions and a lot of the things he says kind of reek of desperation. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, there was that whole thing today, and it's another thing where I didn't love to report on it because I feel like we've been talking about it for years. Uh, this thing now with Star Trek, they're like, oh, the sets are being taken apart. The sets already were taken apart a while back. I don't know why this is such a shock to anybody. Professor, haven't we been talking about these sets being taken apart for like months now?
I think there were rumors that some of the sets were being torn down or being packed up. I think the same was going around for potentially some of the sets that were being used for some of the other productions, that they were already tearing down some of the sets or packing up some of the sets for uh the Strange New Worlds. And at the time, people were saying, well, there's still more Strange New Worlds to be filmed, and they were potentially saying like they were going to be moving them to a smaller studio or something like that. I don't know, but
Word on the
Yeah.
street at the time that we brought this up, from what I recall, we were saying that this is it, that he was given the green light to wrap up whatever he was doing on Starfleet Academy season 2, because there's a contract already for it, and they won't stop it in the middle. We don't even know what they'll air, when they'll air it, or what they'll do, or they'll dump it on in one day, but they'll allow that. And the other thing was Strange New Worlds. It was an abbreviated ending or whatever it is, and we had mentioned a number of times that word on the street is they've already taken apart these sets. Maybe at the time it was like heavy rumors, very heavy, like beyond just the usual guy sitting in England in his basement or whatever it is,
Um,
uh, drinking tea. This was like a thing that we've all heard from every single direction for months now, and I guess this is only the point, in my opinion. The ones you see it in Screen Rant, it's not that it's new and fresh. It's that like even the more shilly publications have to admit it now. You get
there's
what I mean?
there's another thing going on, which is tomorrow is the big online auction of all of the pieces that they struck down. So I think maybe that's what's bringing this to the forefront. So you can actually go online tomorrow and place a bid for your favorite piece of like the Athena set. Your
Yeah,
favorite.
this is the sets being taken apart, I guess.
Yeah, I
yeah.
want the com badge that chick swallowed. I wonder how much that's going to go
Oh,
for
that's
auction.
it's just got a kink. That's interesting.
Yeah,
No,
I've
this
got more than one.
uh again, I'll say, people are like, "Oh, well, these sets were so magnificent." No, didn't look like a freaking starship. It looked like a freaking mall.
Yeah.
I kept expecting to walk into a Starbucks every time they turn a corner. This is not a spaceship, right?
Wakey, wakey, Ractigino bakey.
Oh, good God.
Yeah, I know.
It's funny that the
Uh,
only people that watch this show, they're on Threads. So I guess if you ever want to know how well a show is doing, you go to Threads, and if people like it on Threads, it must not be a very good show. Because like they have something, it says sets for Starfleet Academy being taken down. Crew member from the show reports the teams are already de-rigging the studios used for the latest Star Trek series. Additionally, a local online auction will take place on Friday for pieces from the set. It's if I didn't dislike the set so much, I would buy something just as a joke, but I don't want
I
anything
want
to
to
do
see,
with it.
because remember, the viewership for this show was absolutely appallingly bad. When
Yeah.
they tell you there were 400,000 people that watched this show, and we know with absolute certainty those were front loaded for the first the early episodes, and then tapered off even worse later. That means that some of those later episodes were probably getting less than 30,000 people to watch each episode.
Oh, yeah.
Which is,
Yeah. The
I mean,
drinker gets more viewers on one of his streams than this show that costs 10 million per ep.
Yeah,
Well,
that is so appallingly terrible that literally, if you were on network television back in the 80s or 90s, you wouldn't just have your show canceled. They would cancel it before the next episode aired.
Yep.
They would can your show overnight, and you would never work for that network again.
Yeah.
That's how
Yeah,
bad that is.
you know what's
absolutely.
It is
you
an
know what's
epic
funny?
failure.
I'm not the critical drinker, obviously, and I don't have the viewership of the critical drinker, obviously, and the subscribership he has. But a friend of mine, Nick the Backyard TARDIS, sent me a DM today, and he said that he was thinking about it, and that he actually looked at my videos for Starfleet Academy, my reviews, and he calculated them. And I think that I had something in the 200,000 views range if you calculate all my views for my
Yeah.
videos on Starfleet Academy. Now, the thing is that my channel doesn't have $10 million an episode. You know what I'm saying? If my channel was able on the same show on my commentary on it to generate 200,000 views, and all they managed to do is get 400,000 views, that is really really embarrassing. You know,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable how bad that is.
Yeah. Yeah, like one of Drinker's videos gets more views than the entire series. But you've got videos
True.
that
True.
beat episodes.
I
Yeah.
suspect that maybe I have. I'll tell you another thing that I noticed, and now I initially thought that maybe like maybe just my videos maybe weren't catching on as much, or people were just less interested. But the initial reviews I did generated more views, and with every week that I did another video, it was less views than the previous one. And I suspect that the reason for it is initially there were enough people that watched it that wanted to see like a good ribbing of it, but once I already got to those later episodes, nobody was sticking around for them. So there were less people even looking to go through my thing and laugh at it because they didn't even have patience to watch it. I say this is not a huge channel, but do you get what I'm trying to say? That
Oh,
like
absolutely.
much like the series itself, every subsequent review of mine was like another sort of diminishing return. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed all the numbers on all of them, even the last one, which was the diminishing return of the diminishing return, still a decent amount. But I'm just saying that like I could see steadily that every week less and less people were showing interest in this. It's like people just gave up on it. They didn't even care about like making jokes about it. They're just like, you know what? I don't care about this.
Oh,
And that's the worst
absolutely.
Yeah.
place your franchise can be.
No, listen, 2 months ago, you did a video, worst Trek ever. It did 15,000 more than the episode itself got. You did 55,000 views on that. And
Right. And then, like I said, I think that if you go every week, the early ones were like 20 something thousand, 20 something thousand, but then it went to like 16, 18,000, 15,000. By the time I reached to the end, they're like 10,000. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like,
yeah,
it's just, I think people tapered off. There was like a core group of people that I felt were enjoying it and continue to hang out every time I did it. And it was like a nice gathering of people. But at some point, I do believe that some people just kind of jumped ship and said, I'm not focusing on this show anymore, even
Oh
for
yeah.
the jokes.
I mean, help. We did a literally last minute a stream for the premiere episode, and we managed a tenth of their audience. When
Oh,
we didn't
yeah.
even announce we were going to do it. We just showed up on YouTube, and then we had people coming in, tons of people coming in, and watching us watch the episode.
You had a lot to do with that, Professor. It
No,
was
Yeah,
I
and
know. It
those-
was just, I was like, if I'm going to watch this, let's just watch it
Yeah.
together. And what the hell? Like, let's just
Yeah.
stream it. So, but then, yeah, I mean, we managed like a tenth of the audience that was actually watching the actual episode itself. I mean,
and a Spock action
pathetic.
figure in a chair beat it.
beat it by,
So-
by thousands. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was pathetic.
So, Price, your Superman video, your Fantastic Four video, your One Battle After Another video all beat the ratings of any given episode of Starfleet Academy.
I mean, it's nothing really to write home about, but yes, like it sounds impressive on paper, but I mean, it's not really that great.
Imagine
let me-
getting 10 million a week for your videos.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
That would
Yeah.
be nice. So this is Starfleet Academy. Let's see. Like, I'm curious. How many people were watching it when we were doing this? Let me show you. Let me see if I find this. Now it's us watching us. So this was our Starfleet Academy, and two months ago it had 5.6 thousand views.
Oh,
It's
that's
pretty good. I mean, like,
yeah, that's crazy. And you didn't have an announcement that was right. I was
no,
just
this
sitting
was the
here, and
most
then
spontaneous. Nobody knew. This was a situation that, like, I was gonna watch it, and I thought that, like, the professor and I would talk about it while watching it or do a video. I don't know what I was thinking. And then professor was just like, "Why don't we just go live now and watch this live and see what it is?" And I'm like, "Okay." And I honestly thought we were going to be there and there would be one person. Like I really didn't expect anything. People just kept showing up and kept showing up.
yeah,
And then we saw you in the chat, and then we saw Mark D with a C, and we just like send you guys
yeah.
invites, and then we're just hanging out here, and more people showed up, and over the course of like the next 24 hours, people just kept watching it. I like our stream.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, yeah, I remember because I'm there and I'm like, man, there were only like 150 people watching it when it started. And I saw you and I saw Professor, and I'm like, listen, this is Star Trek and it's on a paid service. They're giving this away for free and they can't even get 150 people to show up at the beginning. It's nuts.
It is. It's crazy.
Yeah, they're giving it away for free, and no one's showing up to see it.
Hey, speaking of
So fun.
Mark D with a C, he's
Yeah,
in chat.
he's in the
Yeah,
chat.
hey
Hey there, Mark.
buddy.
He was live just a little bit ago, showing off his fancy Enterprise model,
Both of you guys,
like the one that I
so
have.
jealous. Yeah,
Yeah.
so jealous. Well, you're Professor. You're the reason I said, "Hey, Mark, you better put those metal things on the front because that thing is heavy." Like,
Yeah.
yeah, the supports.
Not as pretty to look at with those supports on there, but yeah, they're important, especially like my freak, because of where I have it right now. I don't really have it in a great place. My cats keep climbing on the damn thing. Like,
yeah, but when the lights are off and you have the model lit, you don't even notice the supports.
Nah,
I mean,
not
it
really.
just looks. You could use that as an actual film model to make your own Star Trek movie, man. It's crazy.
I love the company that's doing this auction, by the way. It's not even like a company that does like memorabilia auctions. Literally, these guys sell like lost freight, unclaimed baggage, pallets of assorted budget goods, unclaimed. Like they sell rags and rugs and garbage, and they're going to be selling the sets off of Star Trek. Oh, it's just hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
It really is a special kind of pop culture moment that we got to do that. And the funny thing is that we didn't know. We had a feeling it would be a big pop culture moment, but we really didn't know when we went live. It just kind of snowballed. And I dare say that I think on this channel, it is probably the most successful live stream we've ever had. I know how weird that sounds, but that's the truth. I think it's the most successful live stream we've ever had. That Starfleet Academy one that it didn't even have a notification. 1 minute to next minute. It wasn't like we said, "Oh, we'll set it up for 30 minutes from now so people get notifications." We just went live and started talking. So that one I think is like the stream that we have the most views on this channel. Even amongst videos, because here and there, although I haven't had time in a while, but I may do a little more, here and there I post reviews here. I think that there's only one review or something that I did here on this channel. Now, this channel is kind of like bonus reviews. It's movies that are sometimes not as big or more indie or something like that. So I think that there was one movie, I don't know if it was Fackham Hall or something like that, that maybe people weren't reviewing, and somehow I reviewed it and became like a kind of watched video here, relatively speaking, for this, bonus.
Yeah, that
channel.
was the Fackham Hall video. You got 6,500 views.
So to date, I think like Fackham Hall and like Starfleet Academy stream probably the top videos on this channel. Very very proud of that. I mean, there have been other streams here that we've had thousands of people and things like that. It's not that it doesn't happen, but Starfleet Academy is like, it was a big one. And again,
Yeah.
uh, on my other channel, there's reviews and stuff. There's different videos and different numbers for different things I've done there. But uh, this channel, like, it's really designated for these type of streams. And unless you're like, you're one of those kind of bigger, obviously critical drinker, when he does a stream, he has like live, probably 8 to 10,000 viewers live at least.
Yeah.
Same with
10,000.
like Nerdrotic and Gary, but those are tough numbers to get. We sometimes actually get pretty good numbers on the Rumble end. I will say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right now,
But
we were talking about YouTube. On Rumble, we have had really nice numbers here. So
oh yeah, you've had 6,000, 7,000. I just want to point out, I've watched a lot of bad shows. And Acolyte was pretty rough to get through, at least until all the witches died. That it was hilarious, and I kept rewinding it over and over. But I can't recall anything as hard to get through as Starfleet Academy. Like, just watching that episode without even taking note was just sheer agony. Listen, man, Daredevil last year was pretty tough to get through. Echo, pretty hard. Ironheart, aggravating.
Echo was way more difficult than Daredevil to get through. Daredevil,
Yeah.
at least I like the actors, but it's just like there's a part of it that makes me sad because they're not honoring what the good
Yeah.
shows from Netflix.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like I like them, but I'm sad at the same time. Whereas Echo was just like was a laughable joke. It was
Yeah.
so awful. It was so awful, Echo. Like you know what bothers me about Echo is that I quickly, very, very quickly watched that 6 episodes they dropped or whatever it was, quickly made a review. I worked so diligently, so quickly, and I posted it. I know nobody's gonna believe me, but I suspect that something happened where they suppressed reviews about that. Now, obviously, if you're like the drinker, you'll get a good amount. Even if, let's say, instead of 1,000,000, you get 500,000, it's still like pretty darn good. You know what I mean? But in my case, which again, I'm not that size of a channel, me putting a lot of work into it and expecting at least, hoping at least for like a 5 to 10K maybe or something like that. I got clobbered. It would not show up in searches, and a lot of other people at the time told me that they too tried to do some kind of review on it, and it seemed to be kind of not working with the algorithm. Now it could be that nobody cared about the show, and there was so little interest that it passed so quickly that it didn't even like get registered with the algorithm. But it was so laughably bad and awful that you'd think that you could get a few views off of it.
Yeah, but if you're actively searching and you're not showing up, and I think I remember that, I have no doubt that at certain times, listen, this platform has showed, Captain Marvel, the original one, that's when they got rid of the dislike button. They will make changes in order to gain favor with the Hollywood studios, like without a doubt. So,
you know what I thought to myself? This is me with my conspiracy theory. Because it was about Native Americans and a lady who couldn't hear and had medical things and whatever, the actress, I almost feel like somebody made a call to somebody and said, "Hey, you don't want any issues here with with something like this, do you?" Do you get what I'm trying to say?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I have absolutely no doubt that is not
Like,
only plausible but likely.
they couldn't do it with, let's say, like a Captain Marvel or things like that. Exactly, they could with the Rotten Tomatoes, but I'm saying, in some cases, when it's just a regular person, it's like that doesn't have any kind of disability or something like that. I don't want to say regular, but you know what I'm trying to say. That it's everybody's regular, but I'm saying, able-bodied. I don't know what. I'm not a good PC person. You can make this
Yeah.
sound right if you want to, but I'm
Yes.
just saying. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that I almost feel like somebody like called and made sure they understand that laughing at like Brie Larson is one thing, but laughing at in a situation like this where the woman has
Yes, a three times differently abled Native American woman is no laughing matter. Absolutely.
right. And the truth is, I didn't look at it like through the lens of, oh, she's Native American, oh, she's this, oh, she's that. I just looked at the show. I for whatever it's worth, have nothing against that actress. She's done nothing to me. And like I always say, people offer people jobs and they take them. And you know
Yeah.
what? that young lady probably could use the money and all that stuff. I'm not hating on them for giving her a role or whatever it is. It's just sad that if they're already giving a role, it's something that, like, has so many layers of girl boss and ridiculousness and cucking, like, Wilson Fisk and all this other stuff.
Oh, I loved what happened to that lady. Like, she couldn't have deserved it more. She was working at Amazon warehouse, had a really rough job. She was in 2 Marvel shows. She's already made life-changing money, and she wasn't really that bad in Hawkeye. So, thought she did a pretty good job. She didn't have a lot to work with in her own show, but yeah, that absolutely changed that actor's life, that woman's life, and I am so happy for her that happened.
Not only
The
that,
show still sucks.
it still sucks. Not only that, I even remember that when, like, she was on the red carpet, like, she wanted to look nice for the red carpet. She looked way better than she did on the show. Like, the
Oh, yeah.
show does her no favors. It's like they not only do all of that, they're like, oh, we want you to, like, let's make her look bad too, and all this other stuff. Like, at least let her look good on the show. Yeah, there's so many things wrong with that thing, but I don't have anything against the actress. She's done nothing wrong to me, and the show itself was embarrassing, though. It was embarrassingly bad. And there's another thing also that when you have situations where you want to incorporate a lot of sign language when there's people that can't talk in the show, it's very difficult for the non signing viewer. It's okay if it's like in moderation, but there were stretches of that show that you're watching for like 10, 15 minutes that they're doing it. It's really, really difficult. Now,
Oh, yeah.
there were ways around it to make that easier. You know what I mean? There were things that could have been done to make that more, smooth or quicker. But it's like they wanted to make a point of that sign language thing and wanted to make a point that for like long stretches you have it. And this also goes back to part of the reason that, in my opinion, I'm not saying that I know for sure here at Price of Reason Studios. We don't know. It probably didn't happen. And I don't know what I'm talking about. But perhaps somebody called and said, hey, are you really going to let people talk badly about a show where people are doing so much sign language with each other?
We've got to have the right the right background to be able to do that, I guess. And hi to everyone, and thank you for having me on
Hey,
tonight.
Mark.
Yeah,
Hey, Mark, how's it going?
yeah.
Yeah.
Assuming
Echo
Mark
was
is
such a cool comic book character too. I mean, they changed her powers, so she had like photographic memory for fighting.
Yeah, she had a.
Oh,
She
yeah.
was a great character. I have something
Yeah.
for that, by the way, just real quick. Allegedly. Allegedly. There we go.
Yeah, so it was a shame that series, it was, and they dumped it all at once. In the price you're getting your review ready, usually they string those shows out a little bit. Like this, they knew how bad it was. Like I think it was,
And maybe
it was all out in
that was
4
another
hours,
way
right?
to defeat the algorithm, because the thing is,
Yeah.
if this would have gone on for 6 weeks, it's like a snowball. People start chattering, talking about it, then there's another episode, and like it kind of, at least in the early
Yeah.
weeks, it grows like a snowball where everybody's making fun of it. But they did it like thieves in the night. They like dropped it at some late hour, hoping that nobody would notice. And by the next day, maybe they did it in a strategic time where there was 7 other things happening, and it just kind of, along with the potential phone calls that may or may not have happened, they somehow
Yeah.
managed to sweep it under the carpet. They got away scot free, I would say, relatively
Well,
speaking.
Remember, they even created a new imprint, and then immediately was it Marvel Spotlight 2 for the.
I think that when they
And then
released
that
Wonder
vanished.
Man, they put him on Spotlight.
Yeah.
There was one other one that I think they suddenly put on it, and I'm like, oh, it's this thing again.
yeah. Scott Free is a DC character, actually. Sorry.
Yeah, he's part of the New Gods from the dark side. The dark side. So,
Yeah.
hey, Mark, by the way, great to see you. And
Great to see you,
Price, I sent you a couple DMs if you wanted to look at sort of some of the visual memes. There we go. One's with Supergirl, but I also sent you one about the new Boys that just premiered. I
Oh,
still
The
don't
Boys.
get what's going on.
I'm not
Yeah.
even watching this show. I could care less.
Yeah, no, I'm
I
talking
stopped
about
watching 2 seasons ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about that girl with the plastic surgery. I just don't get it.
Starlight.
Yeah, she was just perfect how she was.
No, it's just contouring makeup. It's just
Yeah, contouring adds 3 cup sizes to your bra. Really? I didn't know. I didn't know
Well,
that.
there's nothing wrong with that. wait a minute.
Mark, you're going to be hopping in the car and driving to Toronto, pick up some merch from leftover stuff from Star Trek.
I don't think
Starfleet
I asked
Academy.
my wife if I could go. I said you love this show so much, it would go perfectly with my Enterprise, and she's like, "No, I don't think I want you spending any money on that." But
yeah, you can get the Athena. It's way better than the original refit. Like
wife put the kibosh on the props
with detached nacelles, right? Yeah,
yeah. How are you going to hang that from the ceiling like that? It's just
right, yeah. Well, here, this is my camera. Oh, my camera won't work, I guess.
You know, if you the problem is if you don't, if you hang that in your offices, people are going to think that you're a gynecologist or something.
Yeah. Plus, they don't even need the nacelles because the saucer warps. Why do they even bother having nacelles? It makes no sense whatsoever. Yeah.
Oh, my camera won't turn on, I guess. I don't know with this OBS, but oh well. I was going to show them my. I have a little toy Enterprise for the toddlers. That was a classic. But I don't.
Man. Your camera's not working.
Well, it doesn't turn it on.
Yeah, you might have to switch the camera.
I did switch it, but
it didn't work.
Doesn't let me. It doesn't. It goes black there. I guess because I have OBS Studio running. Who knows? But whatever. But
hey, at least your OBS is working. When I started
OBS
up tonight,
is working.
OBS was not working. It was giving me all kinds of trouble, and it took me 15 minutes to reboot and get back to the show.
Well, they had an update when I started. I'm like, oh no, an update.
No.
Yeah, they've been pushing out some really big updates too. I'm like, man, I hope this doesn't screw everything up. This is like 200. Yeah, they've had some big ones, but
yeah, I'm an engineer, so I love the updates. But sometimes it's like, why are you breaking things? It's like, and I've got that. Stuff. I gotta have if there's an update, like I have to do it. And sometimes I'm like, I'm going to be streaming in an hour. Maybe I shouldn't do this update, but it's like my software OCD. It's like if I see update, I gotta.
There's an update.
Well, I love when they fix things or they repair or add functionality. I hate when they arbitrarily move everything that used to be on the left side of the screen to the right because my muscle memory takes 3 months to, not go back. And Apple loves doing that.
Yeah,
with every big update.
God, everybody does that. Yes, we literally, I went to the grocery store 2 days ago. My wife was like, "Hey, we need a couple things." I said, "Sure, I'll stop in. I'll go grab that stuff." And the whole freaking grocery store had been rearranged. Everything was somewhere different. I'm like, "Oh my God, they did it again." they rearranged the whole store. I can't find anything. This is going to take an hour just to walk through the store and find what we're looking for.
Yeah,
I know why I'm in business. I know why they do that. I know the rationale behind it, but it still pisses me off every time.
When I was doing a lot of work in the house, like Home Depot, I knew like by the back of my hand, it's like I knew every nail was in that store, and then they move things around. You're like, no.
Is it so you have to start browsing again, and we'll run into things that you didn't? Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, there are genuine reasons for doing it to actually to manage traffic or to fit more product on the shelves. These things are part of it, but they also they will rearrange things so that yes, it makes you have to search the store again. So you have to walk aisles you normally wouldn't go down. You're going to walk past products you normally wouldn't see. And then they also specifically, they will rearrange things for like popular products. They'll place next to less popular products so that you'll pass by things that you normally wouldn't buy, but you might see them and make an impulse purchase. So yeah.
Well, you can always look on the app. If you look on the app at like a Home Depot, it'll show you.
Oh yeah.
Like what aisle it's in.
We had to do that the other day because we had to stop real quick for something while we were traveling for Easter, and we had to stop into a Walmart, and we looked around and we're like, oh my God, this is organized completely differently from our Walmart. And my wife was like, the app. We pulled out the app. We're like, oh, perfect. Yes. Find out exactly where the freaking tissues were so we could go get some tissues.
First world problems, right? You know, could you only imagine, right? Going back in time, even just 10 years and having an app so you could find stuff in a grocery store. People in the 80s have been like, what kind of morons will there be in the future where they need
Yeah.
an app to find stuff in a store?
To find the Kleenex. Where
Right. Yeah. Well, the worst thing one of the funny things that I did, there was a local store in town called, it was like a Walmart, but it was like Caldor's. It was like a, small chain. And the kids, everyone that were kids, but everyone that worked there wore khakis and a red shirt. And one day I went into Caldor's to buy some stuff wearing khakis and a red shirt. And people kept asking for help and asking questions. And then one lady started yelling at me because she's like, why aren't you answering me? I'm like, I turned around. I'm like, what? I'm like, you work here? I'm like, no, I don't work here. I'm like, I got to get the hell out of this store right now. Oh, good.
I think they shut down the website of the auction. It is not available right now. It's either been changed or that sounds suspicious.
It's reportedly 403auction.com, but it's also it's a local auction only. They're not going to. It's although they will have online listings, it's all local. They don't deliver. It's only for people who are in Ontario. Only people who can locally pick things up from their Toronto base.
So you're really just basically looking at raw materials, wire, like.
Oh, I'm guessing. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
There is probably going to be some stuff, Star Trek stuff. There's going to be like lighting panels and stuff that have the L cars on it and stuff like that, probably. But I would imagine most of the stuff like comm badges, phasers, a lot of that stuff, they're collecting that and they're going to put that in some other fan auction later on.
I thought all the comm badges got eaten.
That's also possible. Yes. Ista's really itching for one of those swallowed comm badges. He wants to.
I want some glitter vomit. Will they ship glitter
there you
vomit?
go.
Check eBay Saturday. Check eBay.
You want some glitter vomit? I can throw up in a box and send it to you. I got spare time.
There was something else. What else? Project Hail Mary. That's what I wanted to discuss. The thing is that initially when it came out, I said to myself, well, it's doing okay, but I don't think it's going to break even because apparently if you deduct whatever it is, they got tax backs, whatever it is, their budget was seemingly like $200 million production. So without about $500 million at the box office, it's not even like a break-even situation. Now, I understand that Amazon have a lot of money and they plan to put it on their platform. So even if they lose money on it, I think that like they don't care as much. But still, it would have been nice if I could say that it's at least not a box office flop. And initially, I thought it has nowhere near the chance of actually doing well enough to be considered not a flop. But now I'm starting to change my mind because as of now, I don't know if you saw, Project Hail Mary has, let me see,
425 million.
432 million. Now, there's a chance. I'm not saying again, it's still, it probably made the majority of the money it's going to make, but I think that it could get to 500 million.
Yeah, it's got legs. It had it had less than a 40% drop the week that Mario Galaxy opened. It's looking like it's got legs.
Yeah. And so, the reports are, if you take into account the gross budget being about 248 million before any kind of tax credits, bringing, the tax credits in, lowering it to around the 200 million mark, putting in, estimates for marketing and stuff like that. Now saying that, they probably did spend a total of about 350 maybe once you account for marketing. If we're just talking about production, they've probably covered that worldwide at this point. Once you add in marketing, they've got a little bit further to go, but they've got, I think this movie's got legs. Did you see the announcement that they made today about what's going to be coming out in the theaters?
No, what is it?
Okay, so let me see if I can find a story about it. But they are going to be releasing a director's commentary into theaters.
Oh,
So something that would
Project Hail
normally,
Mary?
something that would, yes, for Project
Normally
Hail
on a
Mary, something
DVD,
normally that would just be coming with the DVDs, with the Blu-rays when they come out. But they're going to be putting out some special showings with director commentary. Let me see if I can.
Has that ever been done
Okay.
before?
I don't recall. I thought you were going to say they're going to do that 4-hour extended cut, which I'm keen to see. I would love to see the work print of this thing.
Let me see.
That's really interesting. Yeah, and that's one of the things that you really miss. In some of these DVDs now, they don't even come with commentaries half the time. You buy stuff. I mean, I just got Hot Dog the movie we did on Toxic Tuesday, which is a classic 80s movie that we snuck into when I was age 15, and there were a lot of good points in that movie. And but they had like a making of the movie, a director's commentary, that all kinds of special features, and I know far more about Hot Dog the movie than I should right now. And but some of these new movies you buy, as a movie collector, it's like, oh, they do such a terrible job on these special features. So that's kind of cool, but I don't know how many people would really go see that. I mean, I don't even know if I would see that. I'd just wait till.
Oh, I would definitely go see an extended cut. But I'll tell you, remember, Amazon spends less on marketing because they have more built in. They can market through Prime. They have free advertising for that. Yep. They can plaster the name of the movie on every box that millions of people are getting, like they did with Rings of Power. They have ways to really stretch out their marketing budget. So I think this is at least going to roll out to 550 million and possibly 6, which means they've got a very popular video on demand movie that they keep 100% of the money.
Yeah.
And then streaming subscriptions. And basically, they get all of that for free, whereas normally they would have to pay 150 to 200 million to license a movie of this size. So
the best commentary was the Beastie Boys Criterion Collection. I don't even know what that is.
I think it was the Spinal Tap 20th anniversary, which was essentially a brand new movie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Hot Dog, I know what you mean about had some really good points.
Yeah. Oh, that was at age 15 getting into there. That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Oh, so I shared another page, Price.
Okay.
Show it. So yeah, this is what they were talking about when I was talking about the story. So there is an app that's available called Theater Ears that you can get for your your smartphone. And so it's not going to be that the film is showing with director's commentary, but Theater Ears is launching this director's experience. So you're going to be able to have the app. You can go to the theater and you can listen to a film commentary while you watch the movie. It says that it will work with any showing of the film during it, in the theatrical run. So you can go to it, you have the app, and then you put your earbuds in and you can listen to the director commentary while you are watching the film in theaters. So it's going to be like this new premium experience. And it says it's available free through the theater app on iOS and Android, and you can take it with you to any screening. So it's not going to be like it's playing in the theaters, I guess, but it's going to be it's a separate thing. It's a partnership that the directors have done with this app, and then you can go to the theater and you can watch it with the director's commentary well before you would get to see that in on a DVD, Blu-ray, whatever.
Normally, I would love that idea. The only problem is that for my ears, I think that would be too much. To be sitting in the theater and watching the thing, and then have the additional high volume. You needed a really high volume.
Mm-hmm.
So personally, I have things with my ears going on that this would be considered I wouldn't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It does specifically say here that the director's experience is designed specifically for the theatrical environment. The commentary is professionally mixed and mastered for personal listening devices, and time to complement the film's visual storytelling. So it is saying like it's not, it's kind of made so that you can experience it along with the movie. I don't know if that means that there's actually like audio cues and stuff going on along with their commentary so that you're not missing stuff. I don't know, but
Are you
that's
saying are you
interesting.
saying if somebody watches this movie in India, could they watch
I
it
would
in India?
assume that you could also watch it along with watching the movie in India. Sure.
Because that could be interesting.
Yeah, I don't think a language barrier would be a problem. Or you could watch it on
No.
you could watch it on the plane.
On the plane, you
know.
could fly to India
Yeah.
and then watch
Yeah.
it in the theater with the Indians.
This is kind of brilliant because if they were just doing the director's commentary, they exclude everybody who wants to see the movie. But this way, somebody who's seen it before can bring their friends who haven't seen it, and they can each get an experience tailored to them.
Mega Geek can keep watching with his nephews, but still learn about the movie while he's doing it.
Are they going to flash ads on the cell phone screen during the movie? That's the one thing that everyone was mad at Alamo for changing their order system to from paper and pencil to an app. It's one of the theater nerds who's like, we don't want that screen anywhere showing. So
the Wandering Genie says there is a Chinese DVD of Cannonball Run with the English language dialogue translated to Chinese dialogue, which is then translated back to English for the English subtitles, which is hilarious.
That sounds awesome.
That works. I've actually done that before. That's pretty funny.
That's pretty cool. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, you can just.
I was just gonna say, I was looking at, I'd use open subtitles all the time, and there was another app that popped up. I don't know how it's gonna work, but it was gonna be a media player where it would just pull the subtitles for you automatically through this media player using AI. So even if there weren't subtitles, because a lot of old TV shows and things I watch, they don't have subtitles. So I guess it's gonna analyze. It can analyze the soundtrack and create subtitles. That was in beta. I didn't bother downloading or looking at, but that's pretty wild too. I mean, to be able to, especially if you're, you've got, if you're like Echo and you can't hear, and there's a lot of people. I just leave the subtitles on all the time now too, because you miss half the stuff from watching late at night. I don't want to bother my better half, so keep the volume down and have subtitles on. I know it's not anathema to people, but
not even that, man. I don't think anyone in Hollywood knows how to mix audio anymore.
Yeah,
right.
I can't understand what they're saying anyway. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a touch of nerve deafness, and actually, my wife also, she has some hearing issues. It's just genetic. She started developing it a little early. Her father dealt with stuff like that the same way. And she has to wear hearing aids, and so we leave the subtitles on a lot of times because it's easier for her.
Right? Yeah.
And so because occasionally she'll miss a word here or there, and so just having the subtitles is nice. So we do use those a lot, and what's fascinating. I mean, I find lots of people that use them a lot. Lots of people. In fact, it's something that in my profession we've been doing a lot of stuff with accessibility because it's actually required for us to for students to provide accessible materials. And a lot of what we've learned, research that we've shown and stuff, is that there are a lot of people who are using those accessibility tools even though they don't need them. They're not hard of hearing, but they want those subtitles on, so like you said, they don't have to turn the volume up real loud. They don't have to bother other people. They don't have to go back and rewind it when they hear somebody say something and go, what did he just say?
That's very awkward in streaming. Just wanting to go back 2 seconds, you have to buffer and wait.
Buffered, yeah. And so we've been learning a lot about that and how tons of people use that stuff all the time. And they don't. It's not necessarily just for people who have some kind of disability. It's just about like being able to provide the material in a way that's the most useful to people. This theater ears thing actually sounds really cool. I'm going to check this app out, not just for this director's commentary, but it sounds like it's got a lot of other cool stuff. Like Spanish language audio. If someone's going to see a movie, it's in English, and they don't speak English; they speak Spanish. They offer Spanish language translations that you can play in your ear.
Yep.
It's kind of fascinating. It's really interesting to have be able to go and check that out. It says it is ad supported. I hope it's not like you said, popping up ads in the middle of the film while you're watching it. But that's interesting.
Yeah, I've been keeping ever since I started using Kodi, where I can move the subtitles totally off the picture because the movies are in widescreen and I have room at the bottom.
Yeah.
I've been using subtitles. My kids actually kind of grew up watching them, and they even use them, and they're not hard of hearing. So that's something that actually kind of works for everybody. Yeah, they don't need them, but the problem is that newer stuff has subtitles. It's the older stuff that doesn't have it, where sometimes, man, I just can't hear what they're saying, and it drives me nuts. But the mix is better on older TV. It's easier to hear.
Yes, definitely.
It was a mono, right?
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. That was one. Oh, now that pissed me right the hell off. Yeah. I had the, Buck Rogers Blu-rays, or I had the DVDs first. And then I saw that they were offering the Blu-rays, and I, looked at them. People were saying, yeah, the transfer's cleaner. And it's like, oh, cool. I'll pick those up. For some reason, no subtitles on Blu-rays. None. Subtitles on the DVDs. They left the subtitles off the Blu-rays. So what the hell?
I'm just looking at Wilma and Ardala anyway, so
I know
if they were there.
Well, and then I found with the regular episodes, no trouble. I can use some video foo in the background with MKV files, and I can move the subtitles over. The problem is the Blu-ray cut of the premiere is different from the DVD cut of the premiere, and so the subtitles don't line up on that first episode, which is just irritating as hell. So then I found some open subtitles, same thing. They were just ripped from the DVD. They were not didn't match up with the Blu-ray. It's like,
that's such a pain.
Damn it.
You can actually, when you play it, when I do on VLC, you can actually adjust the delay of the subtitles, and sometimes the certain DVD players you can adjust it. But it is super annoying when they don't line up, or like there's some movies have like 20 different versions, so you've got to find like the right subtitles for the right version. Yeah,
I like that. Noted Chud, the critical drinker.
Right. By the way, I just
assholes.
The thing is that some of these kind of publications are so obsessed, and this is such a disingenuous headline, and I'll tell you why. The thing is that he is, first of all, an author. You may like his books or not, but he has published several books, and he does sell those books. I mean, that's how he started.
Yeah.
He writes books.
Yeah, he has over 11, and he has not failed. He sells quite well. Yeah,
like he what he really did before doing this YouTube thing was actually that he was an author writing books. I wouldn't call him a failure at that, and he's released several books. So, and he releases them with a real publisher. It's not like he's printing it on his Epson. Is Epson a printer?
Yes, Epson is a printer.
He really does write books and publish them. So that already is not a way to describe him. Now, when they say failed filmmaker turned YouTube, I'll forget about the grifter for a second, but let's just even say it was YouTuber. It's not what they're trying to do. Is they're suggesting, I guess, that movie that he made. What's it called? I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, he made a short film that was based on
Ryan Drake.
I'm trying to remember what the name of it was.
Yeah.
Oh, Ryan Drake is the character.
No, that I know, but it had a name.
Right, like Dark Origin or Dark...
Something like that, yeah. I'm sorry that it slipped my mind, whatever the name was. But to be fair, I mean, at the time I watched this...
Rogue Elements, that was the name. Rogue Elements.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I thought about it. One of the problems is that I think that people were like, but he already gathered, he had like $200,000 to work with. And yes, that does sound very fancy that you have $200,000 and you can do like an action, a 1 hour or 45-minute action short movie or whatever you want to call it. But the thing is that I think he himself has later acknowledged that he didn't have a lot of experience doing what he tried to do, and between trying to create set pieces in these action things and how the money goes around or what happens with it, I think it's not an easy feat to just with a few $100,000 try to create something that, if it was made for like CBS as a pilot, I think that they would have invested 20 times that amount in that pilot. You know what I mean? Like, they would have spent
Oh,
millions of dollars on it. To spend $200,000, as much as it sounds like, wow, that's so much money, when you're trying to do something that's equivalent of like a CBS pilot, which essentially what it was sort of like to show what it could be, a sort of an action show, action short movie, whatever you want to call it. Uh, I'm not saying, I mean, he himself has acknowledged that there were some things he could have done better and things like that. And I'm sure that when you try to do something first, it's not always going to be a slam dunk. But to sort of like frame it as a failed filmmaker turned YouTuber is disingenuous, because he was an author turned YouTuber and an author that actually sold books. And the other thing is, he didn't fail at the movie and then become a YouTuber. Do you get what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like,
yeah. No, this is complete deception. It's distortion. It's a lie.
it's
And
complete-
like you said,
but it's completely in line
with their
this
narrative.
with the idiotic comeback that these people use every single time you want to criticize something. You say, "Oh, Star Trek, Starfleet Academy was terrible," and they go, "Well, you make a movie and you do better."
Yeah.
Why don't you? What if you think it's so bad? Why don't you make your own movie? You show us how it should be done.
Yeah.
And it's like that's not a comeback. I'm not a filmmaker. I am someone who is watching the product that you've made, and I am not satisfied with the product that you have made. You go to a restaurant and you order a steak, and you order it medium rare, and they bring it to you well done, and you say you did a bad job. They don't say, "Well, you go back in the kitchen and make a better steak then." No, because
Sometimes
my
they
job
could.
is not making the steak. My job
Right.
is paying you to make the steak and to do it well. And if you don't, then you have screwed up. You are the one who did it wrong. You don't have to tell me, "Well, you see if you could do better." The truth is, I could do better. I could go home to my own, I could go home and cook my steak and do a better job than you did, because you blew it. But I'm not a filmmaker. I don't have all the money to make a big, multi-million-dollar Star Trek television show. And if I were going to make one, I sure as hell wouldn't have hired the people that made your terrible show. I would have done something different. But yeah, it feeds straight into the same idiotic comeback, this idiotic criticism that they have, where they say, "Well, you do better," right? So they're
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
"Well, he's, you can't criticize films because you made a film that wasn't very good." Well, he
Yeah.
made a short film that
Yeah.
he helped write. He wasn't the director. He wasn't there as the, doing the cinematography, right? He hired a team that
He
made it.
hired a
And
team, and,
he-
at the end of the day, I will say again, $200,000. I admit it's not nothing, but let me tell you this: I once was involved in a production which was unscripted, and I don't know if to say I was one of the executive producers or whatever you want to call it. I worked with a few people on it, and it was this sort of feeling that everybody contributed some money, so that for one day we had a lot of stuff that we filmed, and we could put together a sample to show networks of what this thing would be. Now, after we were like a few people that each brought some money, I think that entire day, one day of something, imagine, just unscripted, people just sitting around babbling, not action set pieces, not with weapons and all this kind of fight choreography, nothing like that. Just a bunch of people babbling about shit. Okay. I am not exaggerating. In that one day, with all the crews and all the people we brought from filming, and again, much less fancy than what's going on here, probably that for that one day of work, it could have easily cost between 15 to 20 grand. And I'm talking about unscripted, the most simple, straightforward, without fancy directing. Do you got what I mean? Think of something that just looks like when you look at it, you will not think of amazing budgets have been poured on it. But even that costs 15 to 20,000. So imagine if you're trying to do an hour of television, not a sample to show a network of an unscripted thing where people are just sitting around babbling about shit. You're actually trying to do something with like a story with like more reasonable actual actors that you have to pay, choreography, weapons, stuff like that. 200,000 isn't that much.
No, no,
And
and he talked about it. He wanted to do a fight scene in the rain and all this extra stuff. You had to get insurance and you had to get body doubles and you had to get rain machines and all that. Just that fight scene would have cost more than the rest of the whole movie.
It's interesting that you've said that because let me give you an example. The thing that I told you about, that it was the one day of filming that we like submitted to networks and all that. That one day of filming, because we were on some location that where something was going on, and I think that either there was something. I don't want to get into specifics, but at the end of the day, whenever you're filming anything, even that nonsense that we were filming, which I consider, I don't want to say the bottom of the barrel, it's good for somebody, but it's not a high-end production. Like, it's not that kind of ambitious production, So
Right.
even that one, I was responsible. I had to get insurance. Getting insurance to just film that one day in that one location where basically nothing was happening, a few $1,000s. And this is nothing,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Basically, it's like us
It's a low
sitting now
risk, right?
and talking about shit that would have cost like thousands of dollars of insurance alone.
Yeah. I want to say this real quick to defend Will. So he has Ryan Drake is his big series. He has 9 novels plus one co-written with James Patterson and a standalone thriller, Dark Harvest. And it says individual books in the series don't have sales figures, but several of his books have consistently appeared on the Amazon bestseller lists in categories like murder and crime and military thrillers. So hardly a failed author. He has a real agent, he has a real publisher, and he's on the Amazon bestseller lists consistently.
He's doing more serious work than this Teresia Gray and the Mary Sue. So first of all, it's not accurate. This was, if anything, this was an author, an actual published author with real results, turned or not turned, but also that is a YouTuber. That was the way to describe him. You could mention, if you're really desperate, that at one point he tried making, something of a proof of concept pilot for about 200 grand, and you could say that you didn't like what he did. I think that you could say that, but that's not his main thing. It's like he moonlight. That was like the side gig of the side gig. You know what I mean? Like nobody thought now that with 200 grand he's going to be making like The Godfather. You know what I'm saying? He did something. You have to start somewhere. And the other thing, a lot of people when that thing came out said different things. And what I thought to myself is this: I can only speak about myself. When it comes to, let's say, music, okay? If you listen to stuff that I recorded early on with a band I had when I was like, in my teens or whatever it is, and you hear that music today, you'll probably hear it thinking, and it sounds kind of like amateur, you know what I mean? You're going to say it doesn't sound that good. But then if I play you something that I recorded with a band maybe 5 years later, and then I play you something that I recorded with a band 10 years later, in some cases with the same musicians, you know what I mean? You'll hear it 10 years later and you'll be like, wow, that's the same thing that you played like from years earlier. And I'll tell you, yeah, because sometimes if you want to start and you want to do something and it's not something you do every second, your first attempt at doing it may not be the slam dunk, that everybody wants. You want to believe that, initially you hit the ground running and everything is perfect, but it really doesn't work that way. So I gave the example of myself in music because I really feel that's something that I improved over time. And there is stuff that I'd play you that I'd feel very comfortable with, and there's some stuff that you'd hear and you'd have a good chuckle, and rightfully so. So do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, absolutely. This was his first film. It was a side gig of his other side gig.
Right. It was a side gig of a side gig.
Exactly. They're making him sound like a bitter, resentful, failed filmmaker who just goes online and trashes everybody else's stuff. And
he's an online troll, and I mean, this headline is just, they're doing this for clickbait, but to get people angry, but
also because they're bitter. They're a bitter publication, bitter women. Yes.
Yeah. I love the notable chud line though. That just makes everybody noted chud, the critical drinker. The other thing is, talk about failed side gigs. This Mary Sue, that's Rachel Leichman, who's just sits on her ass and talks to Leslie Headland for 3 hours and gets like 1,200 views.
This
like,
is a different one.
Yeah,
This isn't even the main like bitter lady. This is like the assistant of the bitter lady. You know what I mean?
A side gig lady. Yeah,
The
but
side
how
gig
many?
lady of the bitter lady.
I wish I could fail at YouTube as well as a critical drinker. I mean, how many?
Yeah, no
he
kidding.
gets more views than most TV shows right now. I mean, you look at like who's watching CNN. Like, sometimes they had like 200,000 people watching CNN. So, and people love his commentary. So yeah, even if he did fail as a filmmaker, which is bullshit. Yeah, if he's got I'm looking at 2.4 million subscribers right now on the YouTubes, right? That's pretty damn good. I mean, look at the audience for Starfleet Academy. They said maybe, if that report was true, only 400,000 people ever watched the show. And look at the change.org petition. They got 40,000 people to sign the petition. That's why the show failed, because no one watched the damn show. Even the people that quote unquote were supposed to like this show didn't watch it. So, if the show had been making money and a ton of people been watching it, do you think me or you or Price or anyone telling people not to watch Starfleet Academy is going to, oh my God, I can't watch it because Mark D with a C or the critical drinker or Price told
There's
us,
even another thing. There's even another thing. First of all, at the end of this, they're saying featured image critical drinkers YouTube page. But this isn't Critical Drinker's YouTube page. This is something that they took a picture from the channel Trigonometry, which is a different channel, and it even says it on their stupid thumbnail that they used. And they're the ones that wrote Hollywoke and Critical Drinker. He didn't write that. So they basically took an image from one YouTube channel that's not his channel and attributed it to him, even though it's not his channel. Do you get the level of deception and like twists and turns here? This is not from his Critical Drinkers page, because that would make it seem like he's saying Hollywoke and that he's the critical drinker and put in this kind of thing. He didn't do that. And actually, I'll tell you that from everything I've seen about him, he doesn't love the, even using the term woke. I will say that I was at some point I was on open bar, which was a great honor for me. And I think that there was something that somebody talked about. And I think I mentioned the word woke about something. And honestly, I just based on my instinct, think that he may not have even liked it that much that I used that word. Like, I think he doesn't love that word. He didn't say anything. It's just my own kind of using the force. I kind of regretted saying it because I think that he actually steers away from it. If you watch like his videos, he doesn't use the word woke every second. He certainly doesn't say Hollywoke. So this is a weird spin, getting a thumbnail from somewhere else and pasting it. I don't know. It just seems very disingenuous. It's like, this is not journalism.
No, he likes to use the message, and that's fine. He doesn't. I have a pretty good working definition. I don't mind using woke, but it's just another level of the deception that they're exhibiting in this article.
And then they're digging up this whole thing of this idiot. Honestly, I don't even know who this dungeon crawler Carl is, but I guess that at some point when he wanted to get some attention, he wanted to collaborate with a critical drinker so somebody pay attention to him. But then when suddenly good things were happening to him and he wants to be like with the in crowd and all this stuff, at this point, he's just like, oh, I regret ever talking to the critical drinker. And yeah, I mean, they're trying to make it seem in this article like, oh, look, this person like regrets and blah, blah, blah. This person looks like an idiot to me because, you needed help from somebody. You got like the help from the guy and now you're doing well. So you like try to throw him under the bus so you can try to like look good in front of some people you're trying to impress. I think it's very low level behavior.
Yeah. So this guy wrote books under a genre. It's called it's an RPG genre. He's writing a book as if you're playing a role-playing game. Like, imagine like a Dungeons and Dragon novel. And I thought the first one was sort of amusing, and they got really considerably worse over time. But he had audiobook releases, and he had the critical drinker do some narration in his third book. And the guy's hilarious. He played like a dwarf. And Drinker was really funny and good in the book. And now all of a sudden, he's sniffing around a TV deal. So he has to publicly come out and disavow any association with the guy that he begged to come onto his project and do a little narration on his audiobook. It's just absurd.
Well, yeah, you can't associate with certain people because of their viewpoints. I thought that was what liberalism was all about. It didn't matter what your viewpoint was. Fair and open exchange of ideas and opinions.
Wow, you got that so wrong, Mark. That's that.
Darn.
No, it is absolutely guilt by association. That's why
Yes.
that's one of the things that the drinker's been making all the news lately is because Andy Weir went on and did his
Yeah.
show and talked to him, and guess what? They had a great time hanging out together
Yeah.
and laughing and talking about stuff and talking about writing, and going back and forth talking about the film.
And
The
the
audience was
more
loving Andy and praising him
Yeah.
and making the film and everything. And then, of course, guilt by association, Andy dared to go on to the Drinker's show and have a good time.
Yeah, we
And,
got to fix that wrong think, Mark.
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
exhibiting
I
wrong
know.
think. That's bad.
right.
I
But,
gotta
but
go
what I
back to
want to say is
re-education
that
camp.
it's like it's not enough that Andy went there, and this bothered a lot of people, and he talked about the Kurtzman trek, which bothered a lot of other activist weirdos. And the thing is that I get this feeling that they're not only trying to say that what Andy did was bad, they want to create a situation here where anybody that ever spoke to the critical drinker now has to be worried that they are now in hot water, that they even dared to speak to him. And the
Oh,
reason
yeah.
why I think they're doing it is not only to like make him look bad now, but maybe try to create enough of a splash that other people will be like, you know what, this guy's controversial, I better not talk to him. And there's something very shitty about that. It's not coming from a good place. And I just mentioned it last time. When I see that they have like that kind of Vanity Fair and these Hollywood after parties for like the Oscars, and they're inviting like Hassan as their guest, once you do that, you don't have
Yeah.
anything to speak to me about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You guys don't have leverage about anything. If Hassan is a welcome guest at your parties, you guys shut the fuck up. Okay? And that's not even like a thing, oh, he's left or he's right. That is in my opinion, a terrible person that hates this country, says terrible things, has, says things that if I said them on my channel, I wouldn't have a channel. That's why I can't even repeat what he did. Not to mention that, just for the whole animal stuff,
Yeah.
a normal person would get in trouble. He just gets away with whatever he wants, and then they invite him, and
Yep.
he's considered a welcome guest. If he's your welcome guest, all you people need to shut up. And I never seen anything in the Mary Sue. I never seen Teresia Gray or Rachel Leichman writing about Hassan and how terrible he is. I'll never see that unless there's like articles that are like featuring the issues that they have with that guy. They don't deserve to speak about anything, in my opinion. And that's why I think that all these people have lost so much credibility. And in a way, I understand why Andy felt the need to sort of like, say something. But honestly, it makes me sad that he even had to say anything at all, because I don't know, I can't knock him for going and saying something, because you don't know the type of pressure he's under. I'll say this is that, and this is from my own experience working with talent that was involved in projects. Again, I will always point this out. I'm not at the top of the pyramid. I was a sort of not at the top of the pyramid type of guy, but I was still involved in some stuff. So if there's a show, you have something where you sign like an agreement, and there's very specific clauses that you can't do something that'll make the producers look bad, or you want to be careful, especially when there's something right now out in the theater that's there to make money. If you're going to go out and say stuff or do stuff that's controversial, this could be a problem, and not only a problem for,
Like
for
Snow
the
White.
movie. In some cases, and I've been involved in these contracts, like, representing talent, there's something that says, if you do this, we can fine you $1 million. Like,
Wow.
we can fine you $2 million. This really exists. I'm not making it up. I've seen clauses like this. I've even argued, there were a few cases that I said, you can't put this in a contract. And in some cases, maybe I would argue down the amount. But they put in an amount that, like, if you do A, B, C, and D, they can come after you for money. And if, let's say, they owed him on a certain movie millions of dollars, well, now those millions of dollars may go away. Not only that, his agents, his managers, his lawyers are calling them, listen, we're trying to negotiate another movie deal here for you. Now you're a liability. So I'm not saying that I don't understand the situation he's in, but the fact that he even had to kind of, bow down and like, bend the knee or whatever you want to call it is kind of annoying, even though I understand it, but it's annoying at the same time. And Drinker certainly didn't do anything bad, and he didn't do anything to deserve all this shit. And
Oh yeah,
him
no,
not
it was a good interview. It was positive. They really
right,
didn't. They made that one comment about Kurtzman, which is completely true and defensible, and otherwise. But at least Andy Weir, like people are saying, oh, he backed down, but he really kind of didn't. He just clarified one thing he said. Luckily for him, he's sort of dealing in a position of strength here. He's got a hit movie at a time when nobody else is writing anything good. So
yeah, and everyone loves his
Yeah.
stuff and loves his movies,
Yeah.
and he even said he's like, I don't like putting politics or current events in my movies. Just want to
Yeah.
have or novels, just have people enjoy it, and that's what's so depressing about this stuff. Just in
Yeah.
terms of how one side is just so intolerant. I mean, it goes back to the Orange Man, and like we had family that wouldn't stop talking to each other, but it was always the people on the certain side, quote unquote, the liberal side, that were being nasty. And like my mom had like a picture of Rush Limbaugh that was signed. My dad passed away from cancer, and Rush, after he passed away from cancer, but she'd written him a note about my dad, so she sent an autographed photo to Rush. And then when Rush died, we had people in our family like attacking 85-year-old grandmother, for posting about a picture of her with Rush Limbaugh, that was signed. It's like, leave grandma alone. Like, oh, he's a racist and he's horrible and he's this and he's that. Like, oh, come on, you can't cast the first stone. I mean, it was, but of course, if you're friends with Jane Fonda, that's perfectly okay. I mean, or some of these other, kooks that are out there. So that's what's so
Yeah.
terrible with these people that are so one-sided on one way. And what did Andy Weir do? I mean, just went on the Drinker show and had a good time, and he trashed a show. Star Trek. Hey, it ain't making big money, right? I mean, it's not successful, but he did get. I'm sure he got pressured, like Bryce was saying.
Yeah, but it's worse with
fun of someone. Yeah,
it's worse what Dinneman did. Hey, I'm a struggling author. I'm trying to break through. You have a huge fan base. Would you please, read some stuff for my book? And then 8 months later, he's doing this absolutely despicable bullshit. Yeah. That is way worse than, the pressure. They both suck, but, Dinneman, like, I'm done with him. I won't support anything he does now.
Yep.
It's a real shame to see, people react like this and not just, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. And yeah, the guy is not, a war criminal. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what they make him out to be. I mean,
So,
oh my God.
NMNM says Drinker's interview with Andy Weir is at 142,000 views. How many people view Mary Sue articles?
About
a lot
1,000.
less.
Yeah.
And all they do is they're trying to somehow capture something of his by trying to discredit him, and it's very, very, very annoying. Don't get me wrong, I don't take a publication like the Mary Sue seriously, but this isn't the only publication that made this big deal about this whole Critical Drinker thing. And it's funny because for so long, the Critical Drinker gets a lot of views for reviews. I don't know if there's another critic out there that when he publishes a review gets as many views as he does. Maybe there's a few other ones that get a lot of views that have been around for a while. I'm not saying he's the only critic, but he certainly gets a good amount of viewers watching, his reviews every time he releases them. They never even mention him. Most of the time you look in the press, all these years, they don't mention him. The only time they mentioned him was here, and to quickly try to discredit him and pressure a guy that was there to, apologize. Because at this point, it almost feels like there's this collective feeling that this mainstream media, this access media, knows that they're so powerless. And this guy has so much more influence now than they do. And this guy that they once presented as the vocal minority, Istanphobe, terrible person, is now getting the actual real, important people wanting to talk to him on his channel. And this is what they can't stand. And that's why they're going all in on it. They're mentioning his name just to try to discredit him, to try to present him. Also, like I said a few weeks ago or a week ago or whenever it was, a lot of times they mention him now. They're like, oh, conservative influence. He doesn't live in the U.S. I think that's
alt-right. The thing is, I'm glad he usually ratios the shit out of his critics. but they never mention him. But boy, they talk about him. They are afraid of him. He's the talk of the town inside of boardrooms and meetings and PR. And they're saying, you don't talk about this guy. You can't tweet about him. You can't bring up his name. Whereas the mainstream media will often quote the Mary Sue on a page that doesn't even get 1,000 hits. They'll quote it like it's gospel. So we're having the exact opposite thing.
Complete
so that's the
bullshit,
thing. Nobody takes the Mary Sue seriously, but the mainstream media will use it to bolster their agenda. And they never bring up Drinker. But like you said, like he can actually make a difference in the gross take of a movie. And that terrifies them because they don't control it.
He's not a media shill, right? I mean, as much as Ebert and Siskel and Ebert, sometimes the reviews are controversial, but you knew they weren't shills. You knew they, that's what they thought, right? You might not agree with them or, get you angry, but that show was so much fun to watch, at the movies. And nowadays, it's just all shills. That's why I don't like Rotten Tomatoes, because it's everyone mushed together. It's like I like to find a critic that I kind of agree with and kind of has my taste in movies. And it's not always 100%, but then that critic and the Drinker, usually I agree with him. I love his reviews, and I was checking his channel. Yeah, like some of his movie reviews, 5 million people. I mean, in a TV show today, if they get 1 million views, they'd be really lucky. I mean, so he's got a far reach, and you guys are right. Yeah, they don't want someone that's not in the access media, someone they can't control. Someone who's legitimately got a truly independent voice, because everyone that supports him on YouTube with the channel memberships and the super chats, he's able to not kowtow, right? I mean,
he's not beholden to them.
But he's only supported by toxic male fans.
Yes.
And then the people in the manosphere, how evil they are. That's the only people that follow critical drink. It's all so dumb. It's all so dumb.
You don't trust. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
You don't trust rigged tomatoes. It's funny, even the way they do their system, they really take advantage of most people's math illiteracy. If you're just 1% over 60%, you get 100, and it just really gives a warped perspective. If you read the positive, fresh reviews, a lot of times they're all saying horrible things about the movie. And
quickly, I just want to. A-Lord Corey's saying, my ears are slowly able to tell the difference between Astaphobos and the professor now. Had a lot of difficulty before. They sound nothing alike.
I don't know what's
some people think that we sound alike.
Well, know what you should do?
I just have one of those voices. I think, like, 'cause I've been told I sound like 6 other YouTubers. Like, hey, you sound like this guy. The only one that I've agreed with, that I've thought, yeah, I could see where maybe our voices are similar, was someone said like, there's a YouTuber called Wookiee Fever. And someone told me I sound like Wookiee Fever, and I went and listened to some of his stuff, and I'm like, okay, I get it. I can see where you could think I sound like him. But
I suggest everyone turn on your subtitles, everyone.
There you go. Yeah, we need live subtitling on here.
Yeah, another thing I don't think they realize is that I don't think Drinker is that powerful. He's not changing anybody's mind. He's not changing reviews because he's popular. He's popular because he agrees what people already find. They already don't like your movie, and that's why they're drawn to his reviews and his criticism. He's not making anybody hate your movie. Your movie's kind of shit and they already hate it. So that's how I found him. I'm like, all the critics are saying this show is awesome and it's absolutely awful. And here I'm finding somebody who agrees with me. So I'm thinking, hey, I might agree with them on other stuff. And that's how I found all the reviewers I'm listening to. So in one way, the Drinker is a symptom, not a cause of all of the crap that Hollywood is putting out.
I just want to say, Sal the Hamster says, speaking of which, it was ABF, Alex Baldwin's Finger's birthday yesterday. It was, and I actually was on a stream with him, and apparently I upset a few people on the stream because I started singing happy birthday to him, and they wanted to prepare some joke where they sing poorly too. Like, they were trying to make a joke out of it or something, and I guess I ruined it. I don't even know what happened, but I thought it was nice that I sang him happy birthday. He seemed happy. So not sure what I ruined for who. Maybe Erwin from Nerd Wars can explain that sometime, but he said that I ruined what they wanted to do. So it is what it is. But I sang him happy birthday today on a stream.
Good for you.
There you
That's
go.
Somebody said, "Oh, like well, the price is music or something like that." Unfortunately, whatever music is out there and posted somewhere, if I said what it was, I would be uncovering certain details about myself. So, not that I'm famous or anything, but at that point, you would be able to at least connect a few dots. The only thing that exists that I sing is at the end of videos now when there's a song, that's me singing.
Well, you don't have to, you don't have to worry about, you don't have to worry about Eminem finding out who you are by your voice, apparently. So,
I'm surprised, it's a distinct voice, so you'd think at some point somebody would have, noticed, but I guess the people that I've ever interacted with in person don't actually watch or listen to anything that I do
Well, someone
online,
was
so they've never connected the dots.
someone was telling me I sound like the guy in Archer and Bob's Burgers, but you can't your own voice you can't hear. But I didn't.
Okay. I
mean,
can maybe, I can maybe see how you sound a little bit like him, but no.
Brendan
I
Smalls?
was listening to
Really?
him. I'm
no,
like,
no, no, not Brendan Small. He was talking about oh crap, I just forgot his name. H. John Benjamin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear it a little bit there, but
a
it's
little
not.
bit, but someone came on like in the chat in the geekery like a while ago. It's like, oh my god, are you this guy? I'm like, what? like you should
No,
do voiceovers. And I listen to him like, I don't think I sound like him. But
No, his voice is much deeper, but you do have sort of a voiceover kind of voice. Like, I can see you being on an animated show. It's just, yeah, I think I meant H. John Benjamin. I just misremembered his name, but because Archer kind of has a pretty deep, booming voice. That's why he's Archer. He lightens up a little bit for Bob's, but you do have Mark. You do have a great voice for I think doing voiceover work.
well, I'm available if anyone's listening. I can always use some extra money to pay for these starships.
Gonna go from go from being an engineer to doing voiceover in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you could be like
turn voiceover grifter.
Yeah, you could be Bob's brother-in-law. Coming to be
There we go.
But somebody said I figured out who Price was based on his voice. I don't think he did.
Oh,
and I don't
okay.
think my voice sounds like anybody else's. It's not an easy one that you say, oh, there's like 5 other channels that sound like him. I don't think that I sound like anybody else. For good and for bad. It could be bad, but I do think I sound like myself, if that makes any sense.
Well, yeah, the only person I sound like is Marge Simpson. So that's
Homer.
That's really the only good one. I've been working on a Pacino one, but
by the way, I do have a secret to tell you.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so there's a person that years ago I met somewhere, and I even dare say that I wasn't especially nice to that person. And then years later, that person started following me on Twitter, not knowing that I'm the person that has met him years earlier.
Okay.
It's not such an important thing. Like, it's not like I wouldn't say it's like the most significant thing that's happened in that person's life. It was just strange that it was just strange for me. And there was another person that I met with, in a professional capacity, met somewhere once, like a long time ago. And then in recent years, suddenly that person followed me, on Twitter. Again, neither of these cases were people that were like my closest buddies or friends, and I just have a good memory. But I just thought it was interesting because, we had met each other twice, actually. You know what I'm saying? Because once it was me, the other me, and then once it was me, the Price of Reason me. So I just thought it was interesting. And I can't really say anything. I can't tell those people, hey, I met you at that place at that time. I can't say that. All I can do is say nothing.
Are you
So
sure they don't? Are you sure they don't know it's you though?
100%, 100%. And I also want to point out, these aren't like, people that are my best friends or that I've spent a ton of time with. It's like, I remember meeting, them each in a certain circumstance, but A, I have a good memory, and B, there's something specific why I remember it. But it could be that even if you told them who my real name was and all that stuff, they'd probably be like, "Who? I don't even remember. When did I meet that?" It's not like we're best friends or anything. It just kind of was interesting to me. Do you get what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah, and it must be kind of weird. Like,
One of them
uh,
I wanted to apologize to. There was one out of the two that I wanted to say, "Hey, you know what? I kind of wanted to apologize. A mild apology, not the end of the world apology. I would have said it. Not that I even think this person even cares or remembers why I would be apologizing. The other person, doesn't really matter. But one of them I felt bad, but mildly bad, not especially bad.
well, I've seen you be mean, and it's really not that mean. So I'd hope you're, you just being you. I think you're okay. I've seen some, but so you met them once in real life and then once in your puppet persona,
Well,
and they
in
didn't
fact,
connect them.
one of the people that I met, like, in real life, then, that I said something to in a certain circumstance that I could have been nicer about. That's what I was trying to say. Then later, much later, I met them years later on, Twitter, and it's a person that I interact with, here and there, not every second, but once in a while over the years, maybe, through interaction of tweets, different things like that, and we follow each other. But, doesn't know that there was ever a situation that I met that person and I
Is
never
it
said
James
anything.
Gunn? Is it
Well,
James
no,
Gunn?
it wasn't James Gunn. No, it's nothing like that. It's nothing like that. This is very low key. It's not like a big thing. It really, it could be that the other person would say, "I don't even remember ever meeting you," which is fine. Also, like if you take the other me, maybe that person wouldn't even remember. Strange. I don't know. I mean, life is strange.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
listen, just about time for us to wrap up here, guys. We're getting close to our time here. Real quickly, I wanted to show something else here real quick. This happened today. Okay. No, Black Snape did not happen today. We've been talking about Black Snape for quite some time now. But this did happen today. Dun dun dun.
Oh yes, it's ratioed.
ratioed.
It's officially ratioed now. There are now more dislikes.
Ooh, yeah.
And it's well reported that this dislike tool is not accurate. It underreports
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
dislikes.
wondering about that, how that works, or how they even allow that they wanted to get rid of that dislike.
It underreports on dislikes. So the only dislikes that are guaranteed to be picked up are from people who use this extension to show the dislikes. So that means that very likely there are significantly more people who have disliked this trailer than those
most
that are
people
showing
don't have
up
that
here.
extension, right? You got to be a real nerd Star Trek
Yeah.
fan.
Right.
So
Most
there's-
people don't even have it.
Yeah, so from
don't
what
have
I
it on.
understand, they do use some sort of algorithm to pick out like dislikes and so on from the page. I don't really understand how everything works behind it, but then if you actually use the extension, it does pick up your dislikes as specifically.
Yeah, it's like the
And so-
Nielsen ratings. They're doing
Yeah.
sampling, but
Yeah.
in order to, they're being very conservative about it. So it's always going to underestimate.
Yeah, it's
the
always
amount
going to
of
underestimate.
dislikes.
So that means that the actual dislikes that you would see if you were actually in the console on the HBO side of things, looking at their channel. If you're over there in the Harry Potter channel and seeing the dislikes showing up, it would be significant for all of them. So yeah, this is not good for HBO. Seriously, they're talking about launching a show that a lot of people don't want to watch. For a lot of different reasons too. I mean, this is I stick by my prediction. When we first saw this trailer drop, this show will not finish its full run. They will not get all the way through the books. It's going to hit the 3rd or 4th season, and the viewership is going to be so abysmal they're just going to can it. And
Yeah,
if it does finish its run, it will be on some other it will be somewhere else. Netflix will pick it up and do it, or something like that. It will not finish on HBO.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's going to start out pretty strong, but
first season's going to get viewership. First season's going to get some numbers, especially early episodes. But after that, it's going to taper off. People are going to say, nope, it's just not the same. It doesn't have the magic. It's not doing it for me, and they're gonna walk away, and they're not coming back.
Quickly, Born to be Down with a $5 Rumble rant says, wait, what? Michael J. Fox slept with a young teacher and died, but didn't really die because he was hot for teacher. Thanks for a great start and to my night. Thank you for the comment.
That's
There's
excellent. Yeah.
There's a Family Ties episode where Alex actually, I think, is still in high school, but then he spends the night with an older woman. I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, there is. Yeah.
There is
and
indeed.
I think that, and that actually touches upon what Istafobos says, that, the idea that he's not mature enough to understand, that kind of thing, and then it kind of has a negative impact on him. So interesting that we managed to close everything here on a loop, and we were able to go over everything. There was one thing I wasn't sure about. Oh, the final thing I wanted to say, and then we'll just read the names, is a lot of people were saying that Ellison would step in, and CNN, all this crap that we're seeing from it now, is going to be put to rest, that there will be changes there. But whatever the case, I really hope so, because I think CNN, just awful things. They're doing awful things.
Yeah.
And I do hope. It's one thing if they were fair and balanced or something in the middle of the road, but they're not anything. They haven't been acting like a legitimate news source for a very long time, and certainly lately even less than usual. So that was just my opinion. Now, if we have some names, we could say goodbye to them.
Yeah, sure. I was going to mention one other thing, just real quick. Did you guys see the trailer for Punisher: One Last Kill?
I didn't. I actually wanted to watch, and I didn't get a chance. Marla Sharandoff says the Michael J. Fox is alive. She was just as shocked as anyone else about the rumors. It's more than rumors. They basically announced that he was dead.
Yeah, they showed some prepackaged stuff saying that he was dead, obituary stuff, and then he said people were calling him, and he was looking at it no.
Well, because they do have obits written for famous people, unfortunately.
Yes. It's very, very common to do that. Yeah.
Even if you do that, it doesn't mean you have to release it when the guy's still alive.
It's happened before, though. This has happened before where obits have been released by accident.
Yeah,
it's true. Cool. Well, let me read the people here on Rumble. It was Bad Bird Boogie, Gaming Stuff, Phantom Monk, Sal the Hamster, Elizabeth Quince, Folsom Lockdown, One Dirty Bird, Dude Bro Seth 420, Darren Mai, Joe Higachi, Jen T Maxi 41, Noise Pollution, Born to be Down, Radio Streamer, and Marla Sharandoff also says, I love Harry Potter. I won't be watching the new show. I understand that. Did you want to show the trailer, or are we just going to...
we can talk about it, or we can just save it for later. It's fine. Doesn't matter to me.
Whatever. I feel like...
I know you need to head out, so I don't.
I don't need to go anywhere. It's just kind of our usual. About time we usually wrap up. So
right, is it a long trailer or?
It's not particularly long. Here, we can watch it real quick. We can show a few comments for it here.
Yeah.
So
let's go for it.
Oh, it's already queued. Okay.
Yep. I've already got it up here. So make sure the volume's not gonna blow your ears out.
Hey Frank. How you doing, brother? Talk to me.
I do like Bernthal in this role. I really do.
He's very good. Yeah.
Read.
Tell me what's going on. Think God's gonna forgive us for the things we've done?
And he's in the new Spider-Man film too.
Yep, and they're calling this a special presentation. So my guess is this is a TV movie, not a series.
Yeah. Which I like, actually. It was not too drawn out.
Yeah. When isn't he losing it?
Marvel's been trying to get rid of the Punisher for a long time. But they can't do it because he makes too much money for him.
Yeah, he's the best version of this, though. I loved him in Daredevil.
Oh, wow, the costume. Yeah, the artist didn't want that symbol being used.
Now, for me, I will say having the actor who plays the character also being a writer, I don't know.
Yeah, it didn't work with Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think Bernthal. I think he's got a real good handle on this character.
Yeah, and he loves the character. He
really does.
So
he loves and respects the character. I think he's done a good job with it. So hopefully this is going to be something, a really respectful take on the character. It does look like potentially though the end of the character for the Marvel Universe. So I don't know. We'll see.
Well, if he's in Spider-Man, then how would be the end?
I don't know if this is coming out before or not, but Price, I really need, this is burning a hole in my pocket here. On season 2, episode 7 of Family Ties, Alex, working at the school radio station, gets set up on a blind date who turns out to be a 39-year-old woman named Lorraine. Wow. And that's the second time, season 1, episode 4, he loses his virginity to Stephanie Brooks, played by Amy Steele, a 21-year-old college senior.
Wasn't Amy Steele in the movie Friday the 13th, Part 3?
I believe she was, yes. But Lorraine is his mother in Back to the Future, so that's just so that's funny.
Wait a second. I'm trying to think for a second. I could be wrong. It could have been Part 2, because Part 2 and Part 3, because she pretended she was his mother and tricked Jason. And then at the beginning of 3, you see additional footage of her being taken away in some ambulance, but then they never talk about her again.
Yeah, she was in 2. She's the Pitchfork girl. And she played
2, but in 3 she has a small role at the beginning.
Yes.
Would they probably use like B-roll from the previous movie, but she's being taken away to like a loony bin or something.
Yeah, I can't believe you pulled that out. She survives by tricking Jason by wearing his mother's sweater and pretending to be his mother.
I used to be the man.
Yeah, I remember. Remember that from that. I'm not a huge horror movie fan, but I have seen it. You couldn't avoid the slashers in the 80s, right? Those were everywhere. Your friends were all watching them. So I remember that one. Yeah, specifically her tricking Jason by pretending to be his mother.
And she tricked Alex by taking his virginity.
Was recycled into Part 3. The one with the 39-year-old is creepy and weird, but actually it's the one with the fourth one was the one that would have been considered more controversial today. Probably wouldn't have even made that episode. But now that we've done all of that, Professor can say
let's say thank you to our friends who are hanging out with us over on YouTube tonight. So Parrot Heads, Clay Thomason, Fishbulb, Ron Donafero, Adrian Veit, Kelly Hans, Dutch Gradient, Robot Head popped in for a bit, Putin 3, The Wandering Genie, Mary White, Badfoot, Trev Toon Art, Lasher, Jonathan Conroy, Marla Sharondoff, Jawa Trader Utini, Angry Sparrow, Mur Rockstro, Gavin Blackburn, Darren M, Mark D with a C, Kodo Rob, Tomahawk 511, Kayla Levine, Ethereal Dragon, iLord Corey, Istophobos, Phantom Outsider, Tim Hayes, The Dead Man, and Sagacious 6. So wonderful having you all with us in the chat tonight. We did get some fan funding tonight as well. So give another shout out to Joe Higachi over on Rumble for his $2 Rumble rant.
And Born to Be Down.
Also, yes, Born to Be Down for the $5 Rumble rant. And on YouTube, we had The Dead Man who gave us $4.99 and Sagacious 6 for $5. So thank you, 6. Thank you, Dead Man. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I want to thank our guests, Istophobos and Mark D with a C. You should follow Istophobos on X. Give me a second. I just want to find that link. And let me see. Ist Phobos. Okay. So I'm going to drop that here. And then the next thing I'm going to do is also get Mark D with the C's channel. So give me a second to do that.
And I'm also on Rumble too.
Oh, okay. I'm going to do this.
Grab my Rumble channel. Let's see here.
So first of all, there's this, which is the YouTube, and then there's Rumble, which I will find in a second.
Here, I put it in the private. It's the same.
Here, I found it. And I'm going to share it now.
Thank you.
All right. So thank you to our guests. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure hanging out with everybody. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 11:45 p.m. Eastern. It's the Night Owl. And also, if you're watching on Rumble through the app, you haven't signed up yet, which is free, and you haven't followed us, you should do that. If you're on YouTube and you got here from maybe another social media account that I have, maybe from X or maybe from my other channel, and maybe you haven't yet subscribed to this one, make sure you're subscribed to this channel you're listening to now, because this is the one with all the live streams and kind of more experimental videos and things like that. So do that. That's a good idea. All right. Well, good night, everybody.
All right. Take care.
Take care, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Bye.